take a look at the Walmart Tire and Lube Express starting lineup. The yellow arrows will indicate those drivers in the top 5 in points. Dale Earnhardt starts in 6th position. Dale Jarrett, the defending series champion, goes from the 9th spot. Jeremy Mayfield with his 4th career pole and 2nd of the year 2000. Let's take a look now at 16 through 30. Only one driver in the top 5 in that group. That would be Rusty Wallace, the hottest driver in the series, who's won the last 2 events. He starts from the 16th position. And now we go back to follow the rest of the starting lineup and look at Jeff Burton starting way back in 35th, and Bobby Labonte, the points leader, who is all the way back in 37th, taking a provisional to get into the starting lineup. Let's take a look at the points as we have completed 23 races this year in the 2000 season, and Labonte leads Jarrett by just 91. Dale Earnhardt within 200, and Jeff Burton and Rusty Wallace both within 300 of the points lead, with Stewart, Rudd, Martin, Ward Burton, and Jeff Gordon completing the top 10. Our race analysis here this weekend will run 367 laps. That composes the 500 miles. The pit window is between 67 and 72 laps. The race record is held by Jeff Gordon, and the purse exceeds $2.5 million. I'm Bob Jenkins with Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett up here in the booth. Jerry Punch is down on pit road.
And Bob, as you mentioned, points leader Bobby Labonte starts 37th today in a backup car. He wrecked his primary car on Friday. There's 91 points and 11 races separating him from his first Winston Cup championship. A tall road to climb today, but don't bet against the Joe Gibbs coach team anytime in a big game. Bill Weber?
Jeff Burton won both races here a year ago, but had one bad lap in qualifying. He starts 35th in the 89 Winston Cup races here since 1955. The winner has never come from outside the top 15. Here's John Kernan.
Ward Burton won here in the spring, finished 2nd here in the Southern 500 last year to his brother Jeff. He starts 3rd today, and one thing about Ward, he loves Darlington, and as Benny Parsons always says, it's the mental thing that makes the biggest difference here at this racetrack. Upstairs.
Jeremy Mayfield and Johnny Vincent on the front row. Ward Burton is along with Mike Skinner on row number 2. Great crowd as usual at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. First opened in 1950. Here's the start of the 51st annual Southern 500. Jeremy Mayfield jumping out to the lead as they come off of corner number 4. Ward Burton is running in 2nd position. And Jeremy Mayfield is going to lead his 164th lap here at Darlington.
And the 10 car, Johnny Benson, started on the outside pole, but when he took the green flag, Benson got a horrendous start and is falling back to 3rd spot.
Ward Burton was very fast in happy hour yesterday afternoon in the final practice session. His Pontiac was on new tires, was better than anyone else. We'll see if that's going to work here today. We've got a battle for 3rd.
That is Mike Skinner coming off of corner number 4 and gets alongside Johnny Benson, who came off corner number 4 very high, almost got into the wall. It broke his momentum. He's lost 1 spot and now is about to lose another to Mark Martin.
Oh, Mark comes off corner. Now Earnhardt is trying to get on the inside of Benson and will. Earnhardt in the 3, Goodwrench Chevrolet.
So Johnny Benson drops back from his 2nd starting position and now is running in 6th spot.
I hit the wall there in turn 2.
Yes, he did. That's Johnny Benson's radio.
What's happening is the racetrack is a lot different than they ran last night in happy hour. It rained here 2 or 3 times overnight. It's a little cooler than it was yesterday. Oh, and the 99 car, Jeff Burton trying to work his way forward after starting 35th.
Well, he's already up to 31st now, trying to take over the 30th position there from Jeffrey Bodine.
Oh, and see a smoker. The car is spun. That's Chad Little, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And the caution is out for the first time on lap number 5. I don't think he hit anything, just slid down off of the banking. Maybe he has some damage there in the back end that could have caused the spin, but in any case, caution is out for the first time.
Looks like Dave Marcus might have spun as well.
And I think Hut Strickland also spun in the 90. car. He had some damage on the right front of his Ford as he went by.
So the caution reduces the speed of the field for the first time. There you see Scott Pruitt, who's running in 7th position. He was the fastest of the 5 rookie qualifiers who were all within the top 25 after first round qualifying. Scott Pruitt right now running in the 7th position. Jeremy Mayfield has led all the laps so far, and this year he has now led 11 races. Let's take a look at this incident up in turns 3 and 4. Yep, we can see some contact right there. It's the 33.
Joe Nemechek, the 33 car, gets in the back of Chad Little, and around he goes. And behind, when the other cars start slowing down to avoid the crash, we see the 90 car. Ned, he almost backed up in front of David Green, didn't he?
Well, he did. He got stopped from sliding just as he got to the banking there.
Tony Stewart, the Home Depot Pontiac, just 2 cars behind the spinning Chad Little.
So the track crew is down there in turn number 4, surveying the situation. 5 laps completed. Jeremy Mayfield leads down to Bill Weber.
Matt Kenseth has rejoined the rear of the field. Significant damage to the right front and to the nose of that car. They're concerned about 2 things: aerodynamics. They don't think that's going to be a problem, but they're also concerned about the grill getting closed up, so they peeled off some tape to try and get more air in there to help cool the engine. John Kernan.
Steve Park is behind the field right now. He got involved in there, ran into the back of somebody. He has damage on the right front. They've had to tape that up. They actually punched a hole in the right front air dam. They've taped that up. The hood was also bowed. The crew tried to press that down as best they could so it wouldn't interrupt the airflow into the cowl. So they're hoping that they got that fixed as we get ready to go back to green.
There were several cars that came into the pits, including the 33, Ned.
Yeah, evidently there was some action up in front of the 97 and 33 that we saw on television there, and Chad Little apparently checked up for that trouble in front of him, and Nemechek got into him from the rear.
So the green flag comes out on lap number 9 as we restart the Pepsi Southern 500. Dale Earnhardt takes a look to the inside of Mark Martin and the battle for 4th.
See Jimmy Spencer back there in the Kmart car, passing cars up in turns 1 and 2. Never see the 93 car. The Amoco car was damaged to the left rear. I believe that's what started the thing. He and the 17 made some contact, and when the 97 car saw that, he tried to slow down, and that's when Nemechek ran in the back of him.
And they're all running right together again as Steve Park comes to the inside behind Matt Kenseth, and Chad Little passes by Darrell Waltrip, who is in his 800th NASCAR Winston Cup race. Oh, look at Rusty Wallace come up through the field. He takes over the 12th position.
Passing Michael Waltrip to do that.
Here's our Nation's onboard camera with Michael Waltrip as he follows Rusty Wallace, the hottest driver on the circuit. Won the last 2 NASCAR Winston Cup races.
And 3 out of the last 5.
Check out our Jimmy Dean telemetry as he goes down the backstretch. We'll watch the miles per hour. 178 miles per hour on the brakes. This is the toughest corner on the racetrack this weekend for the guys. Michael Waltrip up against the outside retaining wall.
And here comes Bobby Labonte, who is charging up from his
37 starting position.
Yep.
He is now up to 26.
Bobby Labonte of Circuit City onboard cameras. He follows Rick Mass. And Labonte's being followed closely by Ted Musgrave. Rick Mass won by Elliott Sadler.
And Labonte now will go to the inside and also pass by Elliott heading into turn 1. Ward Burton bringing Tony Stewart right behind him. They both pass Bobby Hamilton and move up to about the 19th spot.
Check that out. Just 13 laps into the race, we saw Bobby Hamilton very, very high down in the corner. That's usually a strategy that you would use 40 to 50 laps into the run.
Mark Martin pursuing Mike Skinner for third position.
Mike Skinner is one of those drivers who put his car up early yesterday in happy hour. He was so pleased with the way that car was driving. He said, man, let's just wait till the race gets started. But as Benny said, conditions are different today than they were yesterday afternoon when they made that last practice run, which could make a difference in the chassis setup. What was good yesterday might not be quite as good today.
Been a threat of rain here all weekend, but fortunately, something just happened to Skinner's car.
I think he just moved over to the left. Oh, he did something now. Oh, we see. Yeah. Is that smoke? It sure is.
Sure is. Because I saw something as just as he came off the corner, something from underneath the car or whatever, but obvious problem for Mike Skinner as he hits pit road here on the 16th lap of the race.
Well, that's too bad because he did have high hopes for this run today. Jerry?
Well, to quote Mike Skinner, he says the motor has blown all to pieces. It's all to pieces, Larry, talking to Larry McReynolds as he coasts now down pit road. As Ned just mentioned, they were so happy yesterday because they ran 30 consecutive laps, parked it in happy hour, and said maybe today will be Mike Skinner's day. It is chance to get his very first Winston Cup win at his 134 start. The car was not running when it came to pit road a moment ago, and now the crew go over the wall and look at Mike. A lot of smoke from beneath the hood, but a tough break early on for Mike Skinner.
Dale Jarrett is running in 8th position, and he looks back and sees Jeff Gordon, who has won 4 Southern 500s.
They've been running nose to tail since the drop of the green flag. There's Ken Schrader in the M&M's car right in front of them.
And they're running right where they started, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
And we see Mike Bliss, Rick Mast, and Bobby Hamilton racing with each other. Back in the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and then right behind Mast is Bobby Labonte as he continues to claw his way toward the front. Now he takes a look to the inside of Mast, down the backstretch, can't make a move, however. Bobby Labonte, our Haviland serial shows us that he started 37th and now is up to 23rd, looking good early, John Kernan.
And Bobby thinks the track conditions are going to come to him. The car is a little tight getting into the turns and a little bit loose coming off the turns. He just radioed in and told his crew chief, Jimmy Makar, I think the track is going to come to us and to our setup. Now to Dr. Jerry Pine.
And Mike, we just saw you climb out of the car, and I heard your comment, the motor is gone. What a disheartening day.
That wasn't my exact comment, but that was pretty close.
I'll paraphrase it.
Yeah. It was unfortunate. I've always not looked forward to coming to Darlington, and the guys on this team worked really hard at putting a great car under me. We had a good qualifying effort. Last night in the happy hour, we were the best car by a 10. Thought, wow, this might be our turn for Darlington, but I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to coming back to this place now. I think we finally got a setup that'll work good for us, and it's unfortunate. We've got a good record with engines on this race team. Always got good race motors. It's just something that happened, but we'll be back.
Mike Skinner walking away. He's got to be disheartened knowing he had a shot today.
Well, you see that Rick Mast has passed Mike Bliss, and now Bobby Labonte comes up to challenge the Milwaukee, Oregon driver.
And right here is where Rick Mast passed him the last time as he came off turn 2. Bliss did not get off the corner particularly well, and Rick Mast blew by him, but this time looked like, oh, we see Kevin LePage going by the 18 car. Here comes Jimmy Spencer, the Kmart car. He's on the inside of Jeff Gordon trying to take a spot away, and he will.
He started back in the 12th position, and right now Spencer moves up to 9th. That's Kenny Wallace right behind Jeff Gordon now. And look at the interval between first and second. It's 2.6 seconds. However, back here for the second position, a pretty good battle between Ward Burton and Mark Martin.
There's some contact down in turns 1 and 2. They ran in on Johnny Benson going into the corner down there, and DJ, I don't know if he hit anything and cut a tire or not, but he almost lost it down there.
Well, looks like he is slowing, losing a couple of positions here.
He might have just lost momentum. Looks like that might be what happened as Rusty Wallace goes by. Now looks like DJ is back up to speed.
And there's the 99 of Jeff Burton up there already.
Well, he has come from the wall 35th up to 14th. Take a look at what happened going into turn one there just a moment ago. You see Kenny Schrader in the 36 car getting on the inside of Johnny Benson, and DJ ran up there, and then Jimmy Spencer tapped him a little bit, and it got a little bit crowded there for a moment.
Nice job by Dale Jarrett of saving the car. He was sideways. Here it is from his onboard camera.
It's too bad we couldn't be inside his body right now, because you could see what fear is all about right there. Oh, my goodness, I've crashed. No, man.
And it was just a situation of a chain reaction type deal when they all backed off going into that corner. Mark Martin making a move.
Yep, change for second position as Mark Martin has passed Ward Burton. So now it is Jeremy Mayfield still leading, and now the interval is up to 3.09 seconds. He leads Mark Martin, Ward Burton, Dale Earnhardt, and Scott Pruitt after 24 of 367 laps in the 51st Pepsi Southern 500. The distance we see some, I hope, is fog and not rain. Well, Jeremy Mayfield won his second Bud Pole of the year 2000 here, his fourth career. They're the drivers that are eligible for the 2001 Bud Shootout at Daytona International Speedway in February. Jeff Burton continues to come up through the field. He's now in the top 10. He just passed the 7 car of Michael Waltrip, and he's now in 10th position.
One advantage that Jeff Burton and the other guys received on that first caution flag when the 97 car spun, 9 cars made a pit stop, so that allowed him to move up 9 spots. Rusty Wallace moved from spot to Tony Stewart, and Tony Stewart started way back as well. He started back in 29th and has worked his way up to now about the 12th spot.
And Jarrett takes a look to the inside of Wallace.
Get up there going into that corner. Now the other Wallace gets down the inside of DJ. That's Kenny, and he makes the pass.
And Kenny Wallace has asked for and received permission to leave that team for next year. He'll be going elsewhere for 2001.
Now let's see if Kenny Wallace can go up and pass his older brother, Rusty.
Rusty's car is not working to his satisfaction right now. We saw him pass some cars there early, but boy, since then he's been dropping back. He's really struggling getting off of turn 2 in particular.
Kenny finished 11th in the Busch race here yesterday. That was won by Mark Martin. And now he has moved up to the 14th position, make that 13th spot. Rick Mast and Ricky Rudd.
Now Rudd is one that's dropped back a little bit since the race started. He started in the 17th position. And there's some raindrops falling off.
Oh boy. They're running 21st and 22nd at the moment, and caution is out.
Caution's out for Rick. Caution's out. Busch is out.
Well, we didn't get too far, did we? 33 laps, make that 34 laps when they come down and get the caution flag. And that is the reason. We can see it from Wally Dallenbach's onboard camera. A little bit of rain falling over the speedway. We've been very lucky so far this weekend as far as activity here at the track. It's rained during the night and in the evening, but nothing that has interrupted qualifying or the race yesterday. But it's sprinkling now.
Yes, it is.
In some parts of the track, there is blue sky. However, in other parts, there are, as you can see, some raindrops. So hopefully this will not be a shower that will dampen the racetrack or last very long, but it does bring out our second caution.
And my guess is on this caution flag that most cars will make a pit stop because they know we aren't going to end the race now. And they've got to change some tires, so my guess they'll all come down pit road.
Boy, tire management is such a key factor here at Darlington because the pavement is very abrasive and it grinds the rubber off. Even though Goodyear brought some different right side tires here, a harder compound that they hope would not wear as fast as some tires they've had here in the past, but the pavement is just so abrasive and the speeds fall off pretty quickly. And so you're right, Benny. Yeah, they want to take every opportunity to get some new tires on those cars.
Looks like Dale Earnhardt has moved into second position. And here come those on the lead lap down for a pit stop.
Which means everybody on the racetrack.
Yes.
That poor pace car out there all by himself on the racetrack.
And this is a very long pit road here. Of course, there used to be pits on the front stretch and the back stretch with just one now, but it's very, very long. Let's get out to John Kernan.
Jeff Burton in for service, a half pound down on the rear tires. Car just a little bit tight in some places, a little bit loose in others. Chuck White's the jackman. Scott Bray, who does the rear tires for Jason Keller's Busch Series team, is changing the front tires. Mark Armstrong switches from the front to the back to Terry Punch.
Front two cars pitting nose to tail. Jeremy Mayfield says 4 tires and don't touch it. Just 4 fresh tires. While behind him, a major chassis adjustment for Ward Burton's car. It's very loose. Bill Weber.
Chassis adjustment and 4 tires for Mark Martin just barely beats out the 26 and the 24. John?
Problems for Jeff Burton on the pit stop. The left front tire, a couple of lug nuts fell off, so they had to reach down, pick them up, put them back on the studs before they could tighten them up. So a bad break for Jeff Burton. Otherwise, it would have been a very fast pit stop. But Frankie Stoddard now consoling Scott Bray. Told you came over from Jason Keller's Busch Series team. Changes the rear tires there. He is changing the front tires for Jeff Burton this weekend.
You really got to feel for those guys who try and work as hard as anybody on the team.
Yeah, watch this. We see Hollywood's back on the rear already changing the rear tire. Front tire change comes around. Hollywood is tightening the lug nuts. They point, say, okay, guys. And then lug nuts fall. See, he's got to reposition the wheel. And just precious seconds going away.
NASCAR official watches to see that all the lug nuts get tight. They are. Jeff Burton is back on the racetrack, but has lost a lot of positions. We'll take a break. It's raining at Darlington. Pace car, what was a sprinkle, has now turned into an outright downpour. It is very, very wet, and the race is going to be stopped.
They really don't have any chance because these tires, untreaded with no tread on them, slicks, even at this speed, it'd be very difficult to keep them on the banks here at Darlington Raceway. You see all the crews running down to quickly cover up the air intakes on the car to make sure that the air filter doesn't get wet. Tony Shoemaker quickly trying to cover up. Oh, he's trying to get his tires ready. He's in the dry. Look at those other guys go down and worry about keeping the car dry.
Well, it is pouring down right now, and that means that we're going to be this way for quite a while because the track, although it does, this track, as I recall, dries fairly quickly because of the banking and because that it's so abrasive, as we have pointed out.
It does dry rather quickly.
And it's narrow. I mean, you know, at most racetracks, we're talking about 2 or 3 or 50 or 60 feet wide racetrack that you've got to draw. Here, we're only talking about 20 or 30 feet that you have to draw.
Well, Jerry, are you dry?
Well, Bob, at least barely from the waist up, maybe anyway. It's a little wet there on the bottom end of pit road. Now, a moment ago during that first round of pit stops, Ward Burton came down pit road in second position. They had trouble getting the rear tires on. Crew chief Tommy Baldwin orchestrating the whole pit stop said he had trouble just getting both rear tires on, both the right rear and the left rear tire. Couldn't get them up on the hub, and they were a little tight. And because of that, and because they made a chassis adjustment, he exited pits in 15th position. So he lost 13 spots on pit road, although we know he's going to have plenty of time here this afternoon and a little time to wait here to be able to get back toward the front. Bill Weber?
Well, we're undercover in the 24 pit with crew chief Robbie Loomis. Your driver is happy with his car. What are you doing there? You making some...
Got to close that up.
Cover that up in a hurry. Your driver's happy with his car, but you do have some nose damage, Rob.
Yeah, he's really happy with it. The car's handling real good. It's we did bump the top grill out of the thing, but you know the guys do a good job. They put a secondary screen in there. I think that thing will take care of it the rest of the day.
But this is a tough track for that because as we were talking a few minutes ago, a lot of tire rubber, a lot of sand goes in there.
Yeah, if there's any place you want to keep your grills in it, this is the place. And we're going to look at it right now and see just how bad it is. We might have to come back in, but we hate to give up that track position.
You guys are due for a little good luck, aren't you?
Oh, I tell you what, we're glad this Darlington race is in September. August took a toll.
Okay, that's Robbie Loomis.
Here's what happened to Jeff Gordon and what Robbie was talking about.
So it's on that jam up going into turn 1. See, he bumped into Jimmy Spencer when things sort of jammed up in front of them. Spencer touched DJ, and and it was just sort of a chain reaction type of a deal.
Well, it's just one small cell that has located itself right over the racetrack. Every place around us looks good. Clouds are broken in some areas, but right over the racetrack, this black cloud has come and put a damper on our race. The jet dryers have already been fired up, so hopefully this will be a relatively short delay. Let's take a look at how they are running at the moment. Dave Marcus did not come in, and neither did Darrell Waltrip, and so they are at the front of the field with Jeremy Mayfield back in third position. And as you noted, Ned, sure Darrell Waltrip would have appreciated Dave making a pit stop, because Darrell could have led in his final Southern 500.
Yeah, and I'll bet that'll happen before this green flag ever drops again.
Here's 16 through 30 now. Notice that Jeff Burton, BP, because of that pit stop, dropped all the way back to 21st.
Yes, he'd worked his way up to 10th spot and lost 11 spots. And we saw the front tire changer really beating himself up in the pit area.
Mike Skinner is out of the race already because of an engine failure, and it has stopped raining. And so now the effort is to get this racetrack dry. We'll stay here and watch the procedure and talk to some drivers when we return to the Pepsi Southern 500 presented by Kmart. Today, the skies are much brighter, and we see more blue sky now than we have all day, Ned.
Yeah, and if we can get this race started next 15 or 20 minutes, there's time to finish this race today in its entirety. And, of course, that would be the desire of NASCAR and the competitors and certainly the fans here.
Now, imagine what they'll do is fire them up and run them under caution for a while, don't you think, Benny?
Yes, they certainly will. They'll make sure that the pit road is dry, that all the racetrack, the apron, all the racetrack is dry. And you can see off pit road there on the inside, wet spots. I don't think those are crucial, but they'll probably run them 10 or 15 laps on the caution flag.
But the good news is that the engines are fired, and just a few moments they'll begin moving away, and before too long we'll be back under green for a resumption of the Pepsi Southern 500 presented by Kmart. Moving once again here at Darlington as the resumption of the Pepsi Southern 500 now is just moments away. Happy Labor Day to you tomorrow. For some, though, it's not a day of rest, but rather I've had a few of them, and I guess I'm going to have another one.
Big birthday tomorrow for Bob Jenkins.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Josh Goldberg, our producer's son, shares a birthday with Bob Jenkins.
Yep.
All right, there. Dave Marcus will not pit and let Darrell Waltrip lead the race. And Darrell has pulled up beside him a couple times and said, come on, Dave, pits.
About the longest Dave led of that race in a long, long time. About, what, over 2 hours?
Yeah, we had a rain delay of 2 hours and 7 minutes before they fired him up once again. And these are the first laps, as we said earlier, that Dave Marcus has led all year. The last time he was in front of a NASCAR Winston Cup field was back at Atlanta last November to end the season. Darrell Waltrip is in his final Southern 500. He has 54 career starts here at this facility and 800 career starts in all. So a big congratulations to Darrell for reaching another milestone.
Spots of the track is really, in fact, a good portion of the track is looking good now.
I think the problem they have right now is just pit road and down on the bottom part of the racetrack. Bill Weber?
Yeah, Benny, just an update on Johnny Benson. He got back in the car, and the radio does not work, so he can hear his crew. They cannot hear him. Hand on the roof will mean the car is tight. Hand on the door means the car is loose. Any other signals might indicate exactly how bad or how loose.
Some things just never change. That's the way we did when we didn't have radios.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Radios are very important, but it's kind of nice once in a while to see them going back to the old ways.
You know, thinking about that, it wasn't until the early 70s, I think, that radios were first used. As a matter of fact, in 71 or 72, Bobby Allison for the Daytona 500 chose a pit stall right in the middle of the pit road. And I said, why would he choose such a stupid pit stall? Because you can't see the pit board really well. And the guy said, Bobby has a two-way radio, remember? I said, oh, that's right. He was one of the first guys that used two-way radio communication with his pit crew.
These laps are counting. We have now moved up to 40 laps, and before they go green, they will open pit road.
Yeah, that's why Dave hasn't come.
That's right.
Yeah, the pit road is closed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, pit road is closed. Silly me.
Of course, helping this drying process is the fact that the sun was. Well, yeah, but it's a lot brighter now than it has been for a long time. So we certainly do hope we can get this thing in for you. All of it.
Some of our onboard cameras, and they're all still out there this afternoon. This is Bobby Labonte, Circuit City onboard camera. Tony Stewart also carries that onboard camera. Dale Jarrett, the quality care on board. Rusty Wallace also has the Miller Lite on board, his back bumper and all over his car. Michael Waltrip, you see the hose, see the decals, the Nation Print decals? That's on a hose, not the instrument panel that we usually see it on, because there are so many hoses inside these cars that there was no place to put the decal that the camera would see it. So the guy said, wait a minute, we've got to be identified. So I stuck it on the hose. The hose is trying to cool off Michael Waltrip. A lot of guys, as hot and as humid as it was today, were using a cool box air that was going through some ice and blowing in the helmet. I was told Michael Waltrip, one of the very few that did not utilize that today, just air hoses coming in, blowing air on.
John Kernan has more on a pit stop that we saw earlier that went wrong.
Well, you know, Bob, we saw that Scott Bray, who come over from the 57 Busch Series team to change the front tires for Jeff Burton this week, he and the front tire carrier, Ray Ocean, a little bit of a mix-up, I guess, knocked the lug nuts off. They had not worked a lot together, so this team has decided to make a change. They've enlisted some of the help from the Mike Skinner team, as Kevin Gabard, see him right there, he is going to now be the front tire carrier, and Greg Burkhart, who is also coming up from the 31, he will be the front tire changer. They've worked together on the 31, so I talked to Frank Stoddard. He said that's what we need to have, two guys who have a lot of experience working together, because it is, you know, the pit stop is, how do you say it, poetry in motion. It's like a football team, like a running back following a lead blocker, something to that effect, so you need to have that familiarity. So that's what the 99 crew is going for, enlisting some help from Mike Skinner's team.
You talk about poetry in motion. Sometimes even the best ballerinas slip. The jack comes around. The left side is already slow, as Mark Armstrong is almost finished on the rear. He's finished. He gets up, and now the tire they start, and the tire has slid off. Once again, they got to go back, tighten the lug nuts up, and all these cars driving by as Jeff Burton changes, finally gets that left front tire changed.
That dropped him all the way back to 21st position for the restart. So even crew members have messages for their family members. Happy birthday to his father, Dale Swanson. Well, we continue to run under the caution here while they dry pit road. 43 laps now completed here at the Pepsi Southern 500. Another break before we turn them loose once again. Going green at about 4 laps from right now, and the Pepsi Southern 500 will be back under green. We've mentioned that there have been problems for several drivers throughout the weekend. We talked about Bobby Labonte's crash in practice that relegated him to a backup car. There was also an incident involving this car, or at least this is the backup car, that Kevin LePage is driving. Here's why he's not in his primary car.
Going in turn 3 yesterday, see some heavy contact. What happened? Wally Dallenbach had broken a brake rotor on the 75 Roto Zip car, and Kevin LePage comes along and runs over a piece of that rotor and punctures a right front tire. The tire goes flat, and he goes in the wall and knocks an oil line, an oil pump off the car, and that's an oil fire, and now we got some paint on fire, and it was not a good-looking deal.
But Kevin LePage got into the backup car, started this race from the 30th position, and now he is being shown in the 20th spot.
And he starts 30th, but in fact he had to go to the tail end of the field and start about 42nd, 43rd.
As you can see, the shadows now are evident from the cars.
And the sun is shining again on most of the racetrack. Looking good. There, you can see the wet spots down on the inside on the apron down there, but
If you're down there, you're in trouble anyway.
You're already in trouble, that's for sure.
You see the teams are still, the trucks are still on pit road attempting to drive pit road. So all the cars except Dave Marcus and Darrell Waltrip have made pit stops. So only 2 cars, once they open pit road, will need to go down and make a pit stop. That being Marcus and Waltrip.
Looks like the jet dryers are speeding up and maybe headed for their rest area, huh?
Headed for the barn.
Yeah.
Well, they've been at it for a while.
Another optimistic sign here as we get set to go back to competition. So before long now, with those jet dryers out of the pits, they should be opening up the pits very soon, and we'll see then what Dave Marcus does.
I think he's got to make a pit stop before the green waves again, because he would put himself too much out of sequence. And those tires have been on there for a while and be running low in fuel before too long.
Just before we get this race underway and before we assume that Dave Marcus pits, let's show you again how they are running. Marcus, Waltrip, Mayfield, Earnhardt, and Mark Martin are the top 5. Scott Pruitt is having a good race, at least so far. The rookie, who was the fastest of the rookies that qualified, he's now up to 7th. Jeff Gordon is in 8th position, and Ken Schrader and Michael Waltrip are also doing well. Wallace, Jarrett, Stewart, Benson, and Burton. Ward Burton complete the top 15.
And of course, Ward Burton is one of those that had a bad pit stop as well, as we look at 16th through 30th. See Bobby Labonte, points leader, in there at 18th.
And there's Terry Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Chad Little, David Green driving the 94 car once again in relief of Bill Elliott this week. Blaney, Dallenbach, Grissom, Bliss, Bodine, Sadler, Strickland, and Nemechek. All those cars on the lead lap. Mike Skinner lost an engine early. He's probably in Daytona watching us right now.
Nice overhead shot from the Pennzoil Copter Cam, and you can see the wet places, but they're way down on the inside of the racetrack and well out of the racing groove. Overhead shot also shows you the crowd on hand here this weekend for this Labor Day weekend tradition that's been going on since 1950. And again, we have certainly enjoyed our years coming here to cover the races not only in the fall but also in the spring. Dave Marcus on the right is on pit road, and Darrell Waltrip is going to lead his final Southern 500. This is the 4th race that he has led this year in his victory tour. And we're still hoping that Darrell, before this year is out, can walk up with a victory.
And the fans recognize that, Bob. Many of them stood and cheered as he went across that start-finish line to lead in his last Southern 500.
What an emotional year this must be for Darrell, who has been running for many, many years at these racetracks, but now says goodbye to them and the fans. We are ready to go green once again here at the Pepsi Southern 500. Here's the highlights of what's happened so far. On lap number 5, the first caution comes out when there's a big jam up and Chad Little gets hit from behind by Joe Nemechek. It was a short day for Mike Skinner. Engine failure put him out early. On lap number 23, another jam up. Dale Jarrett does a nice job of saving it. Jeff Gordon gets his front grille punched out. On lap number 37, that's when the rains came, and we had heavy rain for a couple of times. However, the track is dry enough for us to resume the Pepsi Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina.
And Hud Strickland is just coming out of the pits. He's going to go a lap down. He'll be the only car that'll be a lap down.
Drivers who were leading when the red came out, Dave Marcus, and oh, we got a spin. Johnny Benson over in turn number 1, and he collects another car. And everybody else slams on the brakes and dives for the inside of the racetrack. But Johnny Benson, who was running in 12th position, is spun in turn 1.
Caution is up.
Left side tires on it.
Well, that green flag didn't last long, did it?
See the damage there on the left front of the race car, and the left front that is flat. got damage, looks like, all around. Let's take a look at what happened just after the green fell.
Goes in the corner, and there we see the contact between Ward Burton, the 22 car, and Johnny Benson. Benson stands on the gas, tries to keep that car off the wall, but Kenny Wallace goes up. I don't know if there was contact with Wallace or not.
Here it is once again.
Boy, Kenny is in so much smoke, there's no way in the world he can see what's up there.
Points leader Bobby Labonte was right behind that he made a move to the inside and didn't come very close to the accident.
So Johnny Benson, who started this race on the outside of row number 1, his best start since here in March of 1999. We only ran about a quarter of a lap under the green before there was trouble for Johnny Benson. We get an update from Bill Weber.
Well, he's got significant damage, as you can imagine. They brought him in that first time and just put left side tires on, tried to pull the sheet metal away, did a lot of work around the dry brake. They're concerned about whether or not they're going to be able to get fuel into the car. NASCAR wants them back on pit road to check some of that damage, but Benson was coming back anyway. He needs right side tires. They're going to need some tie wraps, and they also need to give him a radio cable so he can maybe fix that so he can tell them his version of what happened. So Benson will be back, and we go to Jerry.
And Ward Burton's crew members have told him that apparently Johnny Benson, as Bill Weber had reported a little bit ago, Johnny Benson did not have a radio communication that was working. They told Ward that they couldn't talk to Johnny Benson and to tell him you were underneath him, and so Johnny didn't know you were there. And Ward's reply was, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't mean to hit him. I thought he would see me, but I guess he didn't. I didn't know he didn't have radio. So certainly that's an incident that that Ward wasn't happy happened, but unfortunately no one knew. They didn't know that Johnny didn't have radio communication with the spotter.
All right, Jerry. Johnny Benson, by the way, had completed 98.4% of the laps that he had raced here. That's the best among the active drivers with 5 or more starts here at Darlington. But right now, he's on pit road once again as they try to assess and correct some of the damage.
Got a tow problem, James.
Down to Bill Weber again.
And Benson is back here on pit road. They also need to work on the overflow to make sure that that is working properly. They also, the condition with Benson's radio is that he can hear. He can hear, he just cannot talk to the crew, and that's one thing he's trying to fix right now. So they also checked the tow. They're not overly happy with that. He may be back here shortly.
Just barely beat the pace car out.
He didn't beat the pace car because the stop sign was out.
Oh, okay.
Staring him in the face.
Johnny Benson, 14th in the points.
The stop sign.
He did not heed that sign that the NASCAR official was displaying. So he comes back in again.
Watch your speed coming in. You know they'll want to penalize you more if they can.
Kind of arguing the point right now with the NASCAR official, but here's what we're talking about. See the fellow in the white down there with the stop sign. You see him waving the stop sign at the Benson as he rode by.
It was very close on going out. Okay, we're about to go green flag racing again here.
Benson sits on pit road as the crew works on the car, and we are indeed back to green. That's Hut Strickland there on the right of your screen. He's the only car besides Benson not on the lead lap. Jeremy Mayfield and Dale Jarrett are first and second, with Mark Martin in third, followed by Jimmy Spencer and Scott Pruitt.
We're pulling Johnny Benson's car behind the wall as we try to complete this first full lap of green Pennsylvania.
Here's a battle for position. The 32 and the 24 going for fifth. That's Jeff Gordon on the inside of Scott Pruitt, and Gordon takes away that fifth spot. And now here comes Rusty Wallace.
Rusty Wallace obviously made some serious changes on that car during the caution flags, the pit stops when it did rain, because Rusty really struggled in this Miller Lite car to begin the race, but looking a little bit better right now. As Mark Martin moves into that third spot, Jimmy Spencer goes into fourth. Ned Earnhardt's car at the beginning of the race, the first 5 or 10 laps did not run that well, but the farther they ran, the faster that Goodrich Chevrolet got. Well, he didn't actually get faster, but the other cars started slowing down, and he would run the same speed.
And he's running that high groove here.
Here comes Mark Martin to the inside of Earnhardt, looking to the inside at least. Down the straightaway, however, he falls back behind the 9-time winner here at Darlington. Earnhardt, who with the win today would tie David Pearson for most career wins at this facility. That's Jimmy Spencer there on the right. Jeremy Mayfield, as he has done at the drop of every green flag, begins to move away. He's built up a lead of, let's check it as he crossed the line. It is a lead of 2.19 seconds that Jeremy has over Earnhardt.
That last lap, Jeremy Mayfield was a third of a second faster than Dale Earnhardt. And like I said, that will last for a little while, but then Earnhardt will start getting closer and closer. To see Jeff Gordon trying to close in. He's in 5th spot. He's about 3.5 seconds. Oh, we see LePage on the inside of Bobby Labonte, takes a spot away.
That's the 15th position now that goes to Kevin LePage, and Jeff Burton now is to the inside of Bobby Labonte, and he takes that position away. Remember, both Labonte and Burton, Jeff Burton started way back in the field.
Burton started 35th, and Labonte started 37th. Had to take the provisional for today's Pepsi Southern 500 after crashing in practice Friday morning. Talking about the Interstate Batteries Pontiac, the green car.
There's the Ralph Supermarket Ford, driven by Brett Bodine, coming up now on Labonte, who slipped back to the 17th spot. There is Rick Mast, Ricky Rudd, and Jerry Nadeau.
Nadeau just took that spot away from Rick Mast, got on the outside of him and passed him.
Nadeau running now in 19th. Mast is 20th, and Ricky Rudd is in 21st.
Ricky Rudd turns the thing left, tries to get under Rick Mast, can't quite do it.
And we have a battle for second place and a change of second position as Mark Martin takes the Valvoline Ford to the runner-up spot.
And the crowd enjoyed it, and some of them didn't like it so well.
Now here is Jimmy Spencer, who is challenging Dale Earnhardt for that 3rd position. What's the situation with Earnhardt, Jerry?
Bob, unfortunately, it's very similar to the way they were in happy hour yesterday. They weren't very happy with the cars. And this morning, Kevin Hamlin and the Goodrich crew made wholesale changes. They changed 4 shocks, 3 springs, the track bar, the front sway bar, the wedge, and the camber, trying to get the car better. I just asked Kevin a moment ago here on pit road, how's the car? He said right now the big concern is the rain washed all the rubber off the racetrack. We need to get some rubber back on the track and see if our car will begin working again after maybe 20 or 30 laps of rubber being laid down.
7, 16, and 99. That's 12th, 13th, and 14th. Michael Waltrip in the 7th. There is Bobby Hamilton running back in the 16th position.
On board with Michael Waltrip back in the 12th spot as he looks back at LePage.
Jimmy Dean telemetry gets up to about 172 miles an hour and then hits the brake.
Now we see Jeff Burton trying to sneak on the inside of Kevin LePage. Can't quite do it. Watch as he goes down the front stretch, and I don't think we'll see as many miles per hour, 174 down the front stretch. From that Michael Waltrip. He's getting off the gas as he come off 2. Trying to make that corner. Could turn more than 174 down the back. This should be the fastest part of the race. I think I saw 176.
And here comes Jeff Burton now to the inside of LePage.
His race car is working great.
Ooh, he about lost the back there, did
he? Sure did. Maybe not when you put that much power to the wheels, it don't work quite as good, but he has passed a lot of race cars already today, and we're not very far into this race.
LePage tried to get a great run on Michael Waltrip off 2. Looked like he dove down and almost ran wide open, trying to get a run down Michael. on the backstretch, could not quite do it. Now he's going to try on the bottom again.
Kevin LePage's best career finish occurred here a year ago. Came home 5th after starting in 9th position. He ran 12th in yesterday's Busch race.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind this group of cars. He's in 15th position. There he is with the Budweiser Chevrolet. And Bobby Labonte's sitting in the perfect spot. Look at him. He's got 6-7 car lengths between he and Earnhardt, and 5 or 6 car lengths between he and the car behind him. That's exactly where he'd love to stay the rest of the day.
Here's Steve Park, Ted Musgrave, and then a battle for position behind them as Dave Blaney in the 93 tries to get around John Andretti in the 43 car. Andretti, a former pole sitter here at the Southern 500. That occurred back in 1995. Today he started 34th.
About 25th. Ted Musgrave, the 01 car, the Bell South car, is 25th. And Andretti's 26th and all that group. And there we see Nemechek down on the inside, trying to get a run on David Green, and does. Takes the spot away.
And here is, once again, Jeff Burton trying to get around Kevin LePage and being successful this time.
Perhaps heated his tires up when he tried that maneuver before and had to let him cool off just a little bit and started to run again. And makes the pass.
That puts Jeff Burton up to 13th. LePage is 14th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. running back in the 15th position.
Michael Waltrip trying to get on the inside of the 22 car. I really thought Ward Burton would run better than this today, because in happy hour yesterday his car seemed to be so fast, but right now he's just got some handling problems.
He's back in the 11th spot right now as Jeremy Mayfield continues to lead this race. He has led 58 laps of the 71 that we have completed. Bobby Hamilton almost hit the wall up there.
We can see him off the accelerator, lost his momentum anyway as their 99 car goes on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Takes a spot away. LePage going to try to follow.
He'll have the right groove going into turn 1.
And the amazing Jeff Burton continues to come up through the field. He's now to 12th. This guy continues to click off laps in the lead. He has a 4.2-second advantage over Mark Martin. Dale Earnhardt is third, followed by Jimmy Spencer and Jeff Gordon. Raceway, South Carolina, a crash. John Andretti is involved. Looks like Ted Musgrave also. This is on the back stretch. Cheerios Pontiac is up against the outside wall midway down the backstretch, and it brings out our 4th caution of the day, and Robert Presley has some major damage on the right front.
Yes, he does. Well, that wheel was definitely pointed the wrong way.
And that team certainly did not need that after last week at Bristol, because that was a wipeout, and there's a lot of damage to this car. Let's see if we can see what might have happened coming off turn 2. We see Andretti has got high. He loses control, and 77 has no place to go. Makes contact, and watch Andretti go up here. Oh, again. And Andretti, boom, he is in the wall.
Well, it was Musgrave who was riding right ahead of Andretti, but I don't believe he was involved. It was Robert Presley who made the T-bone. Wow.
I tell you what, John Andretti did something that's so easy to do. I think you run awfully high up in the corner between 1 and 2, right against the wall, but then you got to start bringing it down. If you don't, you get that loose stuff, that rubber up there, the debris, and you lose the back end. It looks like what might have happened to John Andretti.
Well, I expect we'll see pit stops coming up here, men, as we see Robert Presley try to get his car back to the garage area, which he does.
And pit road is open as those on the lead lap head for their respective pit boxes. Long line of cars making its way down pit road. Let's go to John Kernan.
And Jeff Burton coming into his pit. The car was loose, so they're taking a half pound of air pressure out of both rear tires. And don't forget, Greg Bernhardt is from the 31 team. He is now the front tire changer. Kevin Gabehart, also on loan from the 31, is the tire carrier to Bill Weber.
Mark Martin has an open stall in front of him, so we'll be able to get out easy. The car's a little loose. They're going to tighten it up with air pressure. 1 pound in the right front, 1 pound out of the left front. They talked about wedge, didn't do it. We go to Jeremy.
Jeremy Mayfield says the car is essentially perfect. It's a little bit loose toward the end of the run. Mayfield is down, Earnhardt is down, then Martin, then Tony Stewart, Gordon, and Spencer in that order as pit stops take place under the caution flag.
Boy, nice pit stop by Jeremy's team. 15.3. Wow. 79 laps completed here at Darlington. We are under caution due to a crash involving Robert Presley and John Andretti. 500 presented by Kmart. We're only 80 laps into this race. If you're just joining us, we got a 2-hour and 7-minute rain delay, and so we are still in the early stages of this race, really. Well, earlier before the rain, we had a bad pit stop by the 99 team, but they certainly didn't have one a few minutes ago.
Well, they go down the 31 car and bar a couple of guys. Greg Burkhart, the tire changer on the front. Kevin Gabehart, the tire carrier. Both those guys came up from Mike Skinner's car. And Mark Armstrong on the rear. He's a very good tire changer. We can see. Now, if we talk about forestry, folks, this is the Ballerino and the Tutu right there. Good work, guys.
The what? The Tutu?
Yeah. Yes, sir. High five time.
When did you become so cultured?
Oh, well. Yeah, Frankie said yeah.
Round of applause for the boys. Well deserved, I might add. Show you a pit summary here from Cope. Mayfield in and out first. Earnhardt from third to second. Mark Martin loses a position. Second page will show you that Jeff Burton picked up 2 positions by that excellent stop by the Frankie Stoddard-led team. Down to Bill Weber.
A 23.99 second pit stop for Rusty Wallace. 23.99 because they made a right front shock adjustment because his car is so loose. So a long pit stop. They lost positions. They're hoping that shock adjustment will help them make it up on the track.
Drops him back to 19th position as we get set to go green once again.
So Strickland, who is a lap down, trying to get a lap back, but Jeremy Mayfield is just simply too fast.
Robert Presley and John Andretti both back behind the wall. So is Johnny Benson, and Mike Skinner is out of the race. Otherwise, all 38 cars besides are still out there and on the lead lap as Hut Strickland tries, but he's got a pretty good run going, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the lap back at the moment.
Looks like he can run with that 12 car about as well as anyone. Talking about the 90 car of Hut Strickland. There we see Rick Mast on the inside of Ricky Rudd. And Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite car, onboard camera watches this. And he's going to get a run and go by both of them. Contact.
17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st right here.
Russia tried to turn under the 14 car. And we see Jeff Burton making a run on the 32 of Scott Pruitt. Kevin LePage coming with his teammate.
Gets him up to 8. Kevin LePage in 9.
Boy, Kevin might want to go to the backup car more than this weekend. He has given that backup car a very good run. Here's the battle for second position as Dale Earnhardt challenges Mark Martin for that spot.
No. Martin just passed Earnhardt.
Yeah, because Earnhardt beat Mark out of the pits.
Right. See, I watch the monitor. You guys watch the racetrack. Yeah. I watch the monitor.
You did the Coca-Cola pit summary that said Earnhardt was in second spot. Pay attention to what you're saying now.
John Kernan is with John Andretti.
John Andretti's crew working on his car. John, you told me you were a little bit mad at yourself. Why?
Well, I mean, I just shouldn't have been up there that far against the wall. You got to run up against them, but the more you get up there, the more grip there is, and then you can go overboard. And I went too far, and I did it a little earlier, so doing it a second time, there's no reason. So I'm pretty upset with myself right now.
Are they going to be able to get the car fixed?
I don't know. It bent the out over a little bit in the front when I hit it with the right front. So we're going to work awful hard to get Stuart Pontiac back out there, but you know, just get points.
John Andretti mad at himself, but he is okay.
John Andretti's had a tough season. Only one top 10 this year. That was at the first Michigan race. Here's the 22 of Ward Burton and the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Tony Stewart comes up on Dale Earnhardt for third.
Yeah, we got to give a call to Tony Stewart's pit crew. Remember, we didn't say too much about it, but Tony Stewart, his crew had a terrific pit stop as he tries to get under Earnhardt off two. Can't quite make it. Tony Stewart started way back 29th or something today.
Yeah, he's passed a lot of race cars too. Trying to pass another one here now. Earnhardt runs the high groove, Tony down low. Can't make it work right then.
Tony finished 4th here in the spring and 12th here last year at this time. Jerry Punch has a report on the 3 car.
Just prior to the restart, Dale Earnhardt, Cole Richards told us, I'm not going to try to run with the 6 and the 20 because if I do, I'll burn my tires off. The idea here is to race the racetrack. That's what I'm racing right now, this racetrack.
That's something you definitely have to do here at Darlington, is race the racetrack. Not the other cars.
John is with the other driver involved in that accident not too long ago, Robert Presley.
And Bob, sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, like you, right, Robert?
I tell you, it's something, 3 weeks in a row we've been in the wrong place. But gotta say, this Jasper engine Ford was running great today. I mean, we moved way up there and got up middle of the pack, and John just got in the wall there and come back across. And wasn't nowhere to go.
That's it from Robert Presley. Nowhere to go, wrong place at the wrong time, Bob.
Here's the 99 once again, moving up. He just passed Dale Jarrett for 7th.
Right here, as we see, this is what Andretti, watch it come off the corner. See that, how the black goes right up to the gray? You get up right to the gray, and as he said, there's a lot of grip up there, but if you go 6 inches too far, you get that debris, and then there's no saving. Steve Brisson is making an unscheduled pit stop down pit road, the Hot Wheels Pontiac.
So he goes a lap down.
Rick Mast and Michael Waltrip are contesting the 15th position, and Mast takes it.
Michael's running as high as anyone. He's right up to the edge of that gray stuff. You can't get up there, though. There's too much debris. Sand, tire, there's Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Steve Park, Ricky Rudd, and the 25. Almost makes a move.
Rudd is in 18th position, so you can figure out where those others are right behind him. Rusty, of course, 19th.
Again, this time he's going to make the pass.
Whoop, it slides up there. Sterling started to try to drive back under it, but decided that wouldn't be smart right then.
Looks like Sterling's car, the Coors Light car, is struggling just a bit right now because I noticed that when Rusty had gotten by, he pulled away quite a bit. Oh, here comes the 11th car. Brett Bodine.
Brett's in 22nd. Middle of that, trying to take a position.
Takes it away, trying to take it away from Jerry Nadeau, and they go in a corner side by side. That's not good. They made it so far.
But they're not through the whole turn yet. Now Brett Bodine is. He gets out front.
Atkinson running down there beside Dave Blaney. That's the 33 car Nemechek now. And here comes Elliott Sadler up to the inside of Kenny Wallace.
Looks like I just can't tell you how difficult what these guys are doing out there right now in this big group, how difficult it is. As Kenny Wallace drives down on the inside of Matt Kenseth. Now Kenseth comes back on the inside. He's got position.
Musgrave on the inside of Elliott Sadler. Elliott Sadler made numerous pit stops during the last caution. They had the car jacked up as if maybe they were working on transmission linkage or something like that. They seem to be running okay now.
Joe Nemechek on the inside of Blaney. Oh, hit the wall. The 93 car just got that Darlington stripe off turn 4.
The Darlington stripe comes a little bit different now than it did back when I was driving. I guess when you first drove here, Benny, were the guardrails here when you started?
The metal rail already gone.
Okay, it was just a single guardrail around there, and you literally had to drive that race car right up next to that guardrail all the way around what was then 3 and 4 is turns 1 and 2 now. But that's where the Darlington stripe was born. They keep getting it in different ways now. But you had to do it back then. If you were not getting the Darlington stripe, you were not getting around this track. You just wear the sheet metal right off the side of the race car.
Back then, in control, you got the Darlington stripe. Now, when you get it, you're out of control.
Exactly.
Here's Brett Bodine leading this group of cars down the backstretch. Brett is in 21st.
Green Maydew, that 25 car, trying to get back in front of Brett Bodine. He might have a run. No, here comes Blaney.
Blaney got himself a run off the corner, and he passes Maydew for the moment.
Meanwhile, Kenseth back there on the steer.
Oh! Nemechek is up against the wall.
I was just about to say that we're getting close to a recipe for a wreck here. They are going at it.
Well, next time around, Jeremy Mayfield will complete 100 laps.
One thing, if Elliott Sadler can get that groove he's trying to work on working, I see why Elliott made so many pit stops. Then he's been in the wall. Right side of that car has got some flat spots on it.
Take a look once again at Joe Nemechek getting up into the wall a couple of laps ago.
There he is in the corner. And right there's a bump. And boom. Bounce off the wall. Keep on getting up.
Jeremy Mayfield has almost a 3.5-second lead on second-place runner Mark Martin. Tony Stewart has moved to third. Dale Earnhardt is fourth, and Jeff Gordon fifth, with 100 of 367 laps completed in
that car right now. He's not taking chances, certainly, but that car feels so good and is so comfortable that he can pull away from them just by not overextending the car.
He sure don't have to take any chances because there's no one that's been around him all day long. Every time they have a restart, he drives away from the field.
Here's the 36 of Kenny Schrader and the 7 of Michael Waltrip. They're running 14th and 15th as we go on board with Michael. Check some Jimmy Dean telemetry here.
It's down to 126 miles per hour down in corners 3 and 4. As he goes down the front stretch. Let's see what kind of mile per hour he reduces to down in 3 and 4. 138, he starts back on the accelerator. Now he's going to slow down a bit off this corner. 138 miles per hour, so 12 miles per hour slower in turns 3 and 4 than in 1 and 2.
As we watch this telemetry, I mentioned that Darrell Waltrip was in the pits with the hood up on his car. Darrell managed to lead a race under caution a bit earlier, but now major problems for him.
So that makes now 4 cars that are back behind the wall, not listed as out of the race. The only one in that category is Mike Skinner, but Waltrip, Presley, Andretti, and Benson are all still working on their cars. Not on the lead lap, Hut Strickland and the 44 of Steve Grissom.
Oh, I got Michael Waltrip flirting with that gray stuff, that debris up in turns 1 and 2 just a moment ago. And we see Rick Mast, that Conseco car, got in by the 32 of Scott Pruitt, has moved up to the 12th spot, and I would imagine John Kernan can add something to that.
Yeah, how'd you know that, Benny? Hey, this is the same car that Rick had at Indianapolis, and early in the race he had passed about 7 or 8 cars, but then when Mark Martin got crashed into turn number 1, he slowed down, got hit from behind by Jeff Gordon, wrecked the car there, wrecked their day as far as a good run was concerned. But Rick was very happy with the car in practice early on Friday. Happy hour, not so much. So they made a bunch of changes to the car this morning, and Felipe Lopez told me it was a little bit loose that first run, this last pit stop. They made some adjustments that tightened it up, and it appears that Rick really likes the way the car feels right now because he's made up 19 spots since the start of the race.
Good run so far for Rick Mast as he is trying to better his best season performance, which came in the second Pocono race where he finished 8th. There is Mayfield, who continues to lead, stretching out the advantage in the last couple of laps. He was 3.5 seconds ahead, and now he's 3.8 seconds ahead of Mark Martin.
But he's about to come up on some lap traffic for the first time today. We've had caution. There's the third place car of Tony Stewart, who is another 4 seconds behind Martin.
And in 4th position is Dale Earnhardt.
Jeff Gordon currently running in 5th spot, and Jimmy Spencer, good run going for him, back in the 6th spot. And let's don't forget about Jeff Burton. There he comes. The 99 car, the Exide car, is now moved up to the 7th position after starting 35th.
An up and down day for the 99. Started 35th, came up to 14th, dropped back to 21st, and since that time he has steadily moved up. Currently running 7th.
Man, he's going awfully high around the racetrack. Then you talk about Darrell Waltrip being in the pit area with the hood up. The engine did expire on that car, and he had to take it to the garage area.
That's too bad for DW. His last Southern 500 here.
Here's Scott Pruitt, Kenny Schrader, Michael Waltrip running back in 13th, 14th, and 15th. Right behind Michael is Dale Earnhardt Jr., and then comes Ricky Rudd.
These cars have caught the 32 of Scott Pruitt. And when you get up behind these cars, as you could tell by our telemetry just a moment ago, they're running fast enough that aerodynamics plays a huge role. They pick up that aero push, and then passing becomes a little bit of a struggle, especially when tires are as worn as the tires on these cars now.
Scott Pruitt, his car is not working as well as it did earlier. In the first couple of segments of this race, he was able to stay up there in the top 10 rather easily. Came out of the pits in 8th position on this last run here, but now is shown back in 13th. So that tied car not working quite as well as it did earlier.
Scott Pruitt did not qualify for the spring race here at Darlington. So this is his first NASCAR Winston Cup race on this surface. He did finish 18th in yesterday's Busch race.
All right, as you talked about, Ned, Jeremy Mayfield is going to do something in a couple of laps he hasn't done all day. Try to pass someone.
115 laps complete. Jeremy Mayfield leads the Pepsi Southern 500. We'll be right back. Good luck for Jeremy, who had the car, at least in the first 119 laps.
No question but what he had the best race car out of here. He had totally dominated it up to this point.
And he had tried to lap Dave Marcus for 2 or 3 laps. As a matter of fact, when he went to break, he had almost a 4-second lead on Dave Marcus, and it had gotten down to about 1.25 seconds. He was under Marcus, and Marcus gave him room, but he couldn't use the racetrack coming off. And finally, they made contact, I believe, which is what forced the 12th car in the wall. Jerry Bunt?
Exactly, and Jeremy is just heartbroken. In fact, the car is so heavily damaged. If you watch it now, the crew is actually watching our television monitor here in the pits to see if they can see how badly the car is damaged. They said, Jeremy, just head to the garage area. We're going to go down there and try to fix it. Obviously, the right front suspension ripped away. He hit the wall a ton. And I was just getting ready to tell you that this is the most perfect car he said he has ever had in a race anytime since his career began. And it was happening right here where he's always wanted to win, at Darlington Raceway. And guess what, guys? It's not going to happen today.
Not today. And Kevin LePage just made a pit stop, headed out of the pits now to change all 4 tires, whether he ran over something maybe and cut a tire or whatever. Kevin was running in the top 10 before he came in.
Well, here is the incident that has eliminated Jeremy Mayfield.
Well, you can see Jeremy down on the inside of Dave Marcus and slides right up into him there and shoots him right straight into the wall. What a shame.
And you see just how close Dave Marcus was to the accident. Once again, he's trying to get by. And as I said, Marcus is getting a lot of room, but when you come off the corner, Jeremy needs to come off and let this car drift up the racetrack right there. He needs to come off and go up the racetrack. He does. But Dave Marcus makes contact with that right rear and just forces the front, right front in the outside retaining wall. Tough, tough break for Jeremy. It doesn't get any worse than that, does it, Ned?
No, it sure doesn't. And that is terrible.
And apparently Michael Waltrip has a problem also. He's coming into the pits.
Well, he was running up in 16th position.
Well, he's not coming into the pits. He's down the backstretch slowly.
I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. He's very, very slow. Is he going to be able to make it? Meanwhile, Scott Pruitt under challenge from Kenny Schrader for the 11th spot.
And there's Dale Earnhardt Jr. A little love tap there. Said, hello, I'm back here too. And here's Steve Park. He's been passing some race cars coming up through the pack.
John, what was the problem with Kevin LePage?
He had a vibration in the right front. They decided, Pat Price's crew chief said he decided not to take a chance with it. So they decided to come on in, change 4 tires, and that seemed to fix it.
And Michael Waltrip flew up. That was the deal on him. He's trying to limp it on back here, but they say they're done. Engine failure.
I wonder now if he's going to make it. Yes, he is. He's on pit road now, talking about Michael Waltrip in the Nation's Rent Car. And see Ricky Rudd on the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That would be a battle for the 14th spot.
Jimmy Spencer and Dale Jarrett are involved in the battle for the 6th position. Jarrett to the inside has a nice run, takes that spot.
Well, you can almost see these guys just perk up now. The crew has told them the 12 car is out of the race. They say, okay, we have a chance now, especially this guy.
Well, Mark Martin hopes to make it 2 in a row here at Darlington. He won yesterday in the Busch race, and he is leading right now in the Winston Cup race with 126 laps completed. Second place now belongs to Tony Stewart. He's about 3.5 seconds behind. And out his onboard camera, the back we see Dale Earnhardt, who's running in 3rd spot. Jeff Gordon running 4th, and Jeff Burton is in 5th position. That's the top 5 with 127 complete. I'm Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch back with you with the Southern 500 in Darlington. The leader is Mark Martin. It's one thing to drop out of a race. It's quite another to drop out when you are the best, Doc.
Indeed, if I've ever seen a guy have the field covered at Darlington, this guy had him covered today. Jeremy, I just heard you say before that happened, this was the most perfect race car you had ever had as a Winston Cup driver.
We haven't been like this for a long time. We finally got it right, and everybody worked hard in the shop, got this car like it is, and great engines, Penske engines, Mobil one. Goodyear had a great tire, and I guess just, you know, a little too patient, and I guess I came up on him, you know, and got myself in the wall, and part of it.
Who is at fault there, Jeremy? Should you have stayed down, do you think? Maybe should you have waited a little bit more? Now as you look back and had a moment to cool off.
Yeah, I probably should have, you know, and you know, I should have stayed down and probably not took a chance, especially around him. I mean, I wasn't trying to ever do anything to him, and Dave's always been good to me, and I felt like he'd give me a little break, you know, and I tried to squeeze up and got into him and got in the wall.
How bad's the car?
Pretty bad, but we'll be back. This is 009. It's a pretty tough car, and we'll rebuild it. I just want to thank everybody who made this possible for us. It's a good race car.
Indeed. Jeremy Mayfield climbed out of the car, went over and began hugging crew members and giving them high fives. Even though he's disappointed to not be in the race, he appreciates their hard work, and they're trying to get it back together and get him out for some valuable points.
Well, Jeff Gordon has made a pit stop here on the 133rd lap of the race, and Bill has the report.
4 tires and fuel for Gordon a little bit early as compared to the sequence with everyone else, but their concern was that he may have run over something after Mayfield got in the wall. They had to be safe rather than sorry. The 25 car now on pit road.
4 tires on the Jerry Nadeau Michael Holligan car. Tire change complete, and away he goes.
Bobby Hamilton was in the pits there. Ward Burton coming into the pits. Hut Strickland and Scott Pruitt. You see on your screen there all of these pit stops. Lloyd Burton coming into his pits for a 4-tire change. A lot of cars beginning to slip and slide around out there. This is the longest green flag run we've had here today.
These cars qualified at almost 170 miles per hour, and now they're running. Mark Martin the last time ran 147 mile per hour average, although he is in traffic. He could probably run somewhere around 150.
17.4 second pit stop for Ward Burton, and he is back on the racetrack.
Our other cars coming in. Jeff Burton coming into the pits, and here now Mark Martin has caught Dave Marcus. Mark was pretty far behind the 12 car, and he's trying to put a lap on Dave.
Now to John Kernan.
Jeff Burton is in for his scheduled service. They'll make a wedge adjustment on that left rear as they swing around to the left side. A really quick pit stop in action right now. You talk about poetry in motion. This is it. It's a little bit slower from the left front than the left rear, and Burton is away.
And Ricky Rudd comes into the pits. So does Kenny Wallace, Ted Musgrave, David Green, Chad Little, Tony Stewart coming down pit road. These are all scheduled stops. They could run longer on fuel, but they couldn't stand that ride on those tires anymore. Bobby Labonte, the points leader, coming in as we watch Ricky Rudd's crew work on his car.
And Rudd is away. Bobby Labonte is getting service on his car now as the crew switches around. Mark Martin was able to get around Dave Marcus, and Marcus got into the wall as Mark did. There's Bobby Labonte's stop complete. And now Ken Schrader comes in.
Now they'll be able to pick up about 2 seconds a lap once they go back out with those 4 new tires on them.
Rusty Wallace brings his Miller Lite Ford down pit road.
Very slowly, 45 miles per hour. Rick Mass is in. John Kernan.
And it's a 4-tire change, no adjustments for Rick Mass. Already coming around on the left side. Tires coming off, going on. There the tighten the lug nuts, finished on the left rear first to Bill Weber.
It's been a battle so far today for Rusty Wallace, so they'll give him 4 tires, make an air pressure adjustment and a chassis adjustment around to the left side. A little tight over there, but they're able to get the jack underneath the car and the left side tires on. A quick wipe with the grill, and the 2-car returns to the race. Rusty fighting it here so far this afternoon. Mark Martin, long trip down pit road. Now here's the story on Mark. When the 12 car was leading, he said the car was a little bit loose. They wanted to tighten him up a little bit. They talked about how to do that with wedge or taking a spring rubber out of the right rear. After the 12 car fell out of the race, Mark and Jimmy Fennick decided not to make any changes. Mark told his crew, we're the best car out here now, so we're in front of everybody. Let's leave it the way it is. The car has come to him. It's been fairly neutral, so this is simply 4 tires, fuel, clean the windshield, and get him back out. You have to keep in mind, a lot of these teams thinking about getting to halfway to Jerry.
Dale Earnhardt pitting right in front of Dale Jarrett. 4 tires, slide air pressure. They leave pit road, nose to tail, exactly the way they came in. Slide air pressure adjustment as well for the car number 88. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now in the Budweiser Chevrolet. Crew now going to the right side. Earnhardt Jr.'s car getting better and better. Had been a little tight in the middle of the corner and a little bit loose off. Left side tires going on. Tony Eury Jr. left front tire. Lug nut tight. Earnhardt Jr. down and away. Back to you, Bill Weber.
What a run it has been for Jimmy Spencer. Chassis adjustment. He also gets 4 tires. Fuel going in. Left rear is done. Spencer has a good stop. Kyle Petty on there. That's Grissom on his right as they go down pit road.
You know who's going to be leading this race once all these pit stops are made? Jeff Gordon. He came in a little bit earlier than the others, but got back out there on those fresh tires and really picked up some time.
Now, we told you that Mark Martin got around Dave Marcus. Here's when Marcus got up into the fence.
Yeah, he gets up and gets against the fence. He has to back off a little bit, so passing Marcus for Mark Martin was a little bit easier than it was for Jeremy Mayfield.
John Kernan has an update on Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart came in, took on 4 tires. They made a track bar adjustment, a half round up. The car is just a little bit too tight.
Right now, Marcus is being shown as the leader of the race. Of course, he is well off pit sequence with everybody else. And we also might tell you that Darrell Waltrip is back in competition. They replaced the coil on that car, and DW is back in action. He is 36 laps down. There is Jeff Gordon, who is running second and will be the leader. In fact, he is right now. Jeff Gordon takes the lead, and that makes him the 7th different leader that we have had in the first 142 laps of the Pepsi Southern 500. Second advantage on Jeff Burton. Mark Martin running in 3rd spot. Stewart and Earnhardt complete the top 5, and that shot there from the 4th turn, it was dirt. Or was it?
It was a little sprinkle down in that area, down in turn 4. So far, it's not enough that NASCAR has felt the need to put out a caution. No more than it's raining right now. The tracks are keeping the cars are keeping the track dry.
Jeff Gordon trying to put a lap on Jeffrey Bodine, who's running in the 25th spot.
And Jeffrey says, "Come on, rain, need you right now. Need that caution."
Jeff Gordon trying to get under Jeffrey Bodine. It looks like he will. A pretty good move by the 24 car, Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon has gone 4 straight races without a top 20 finish for the first time in his career.
Really?
Yep, finished 23rd at Bristol, 36th at Michigan, 23rd at Watkins Glen, and 33rd at Indianapolis.
No wonder Robin Loomis, the crew chief, said it's just happy to see August get over with, because that was not a good month for him.
Yep.
And it was not indicative of the way they ran. They really ran some good races.
Well, there's Jeff Burton in second, and the man on the move is once again Mark Martin, as he is in 3rd position with Jeffrey Bodine between himself. Well, not anymore, and Jeff Burton.
Well, Mark has fresher tires, and that's going to allow him. Of course, he's had a good race car also, but he waited a little bit later to pit, and that's what put Jeff Gordon out in front, and Jeff Burton. They pitted earlier and was out there picking off some good laps while the others were running on old tires, but now their tires are heated up and a little bit slower.
The thing is that we see just a few raindrops occasionally on these camera lens. The sun is shining around most of the racetrack, as we see Scott Pruitt in the 32 car and Jerry Nadeau in the 25. Kenny Schrader 36. This is 12th, 13th, 14th.
Has caught his teammate, Jeff Burton, as they race another one of their teammates, Chad Little. All of those cars owned by Jack Rouse.
Look out.
Oh, baby.
Oh, boy, did Martin take advantage of the situation there and just drove right on by both of them.
Mark now moves to second.
Now, that'd be big if Jack Roush would lose 3 cars in one wreck, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would.
Those Roush would certainly have a talking to come tomorrow.
The PGA Air Canada will be coming up next, scheduled to occur at this hour. However, because of the rain delay that we had here, we are not even to the halfway point, but you will see that next, the PGA Air Canada Championship. John Kernan has a report on Jeff Burton, who's 3rd.
Bob, Jeff just radioed Frank Stoddard, his crew chief, and told him the car's a little tight, but I still can't get on the gas where I want to without spinning the rear tires. So the car's just not quite the way they want it. So they've been making small little adjustments all afternoon long. Next pit stop, we'd expect another adjustment to try and cure that problem.
The worst possible thing that you can have is the car being pushing and loose all at the same time.
That's a nightmare to the crew chief to figure out what to do to it.
Here's Tony Stewart, who started 29th. Is currently in 4th position. He has been up as high as 2nd. Pit rush for the Rushville, Indiana Rocket. And the 3 car of Dale Earnhardt runs in 5th position with a couple of lap cars between Earnhardt and Stewart.
Bob Dale Jarrett's the next car. He's in 6th spot. Jarrett right now is almost 5 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon. You see 32.27. They qualified in the low 29-second bracket. Right along with the Ford Quality Care car. Watch him go down the corner and see what kind of, he just turns it left. That's pretty good. You don't have to jerk it back to the right to save the back end. Comes off the corner and that looks pretty good. Comes off the corner, puts his arm up on the door and relaxes and waves to somebody.
Get out of the way. As if they saw him. I think you saw him make that little maneuver. That would be Dave Blaney up front of there, starting in 93.
Every straightaway just kind of relaxes that left arm, puts it up on the door.
There have been many memorable moments down through the years when ESPN has come here to televise races. We all remember, of course, the 85 Bill Elliott win. Here is Ted Musgrave and Steve Park doing battle for 20th. Park is successful in the pass.
And these guys have got to get moving up as much as they can because the leader is not that far behind. As Tony Stewart, the Home Depot car, is now moved in front of the 99 as Jeff Burton taking over that 3rd spot. So right now the NASCAR officials are extremely happy because they have a Chevrolet, a Ford, a Pontiac running 1, 2, 3.
You know, that little sprinkle that we had there a moment ago was in the cloud that we could see down over just back of turns 3 and 4. The wind was blowing it away from us, and it looks pretty good over that way right now. We can see from the booth that it's looking pretty good. So maybe the wind is going to help us out here. Blow that cloud on somewhere else.
Ward Burton is running in 7th spot in the Caterpillar Pontiac.
8 3/4 seconds behind the leader.
36 and the 55 are contesting 14th.
Kenny Wallace makes the pass on Kenny Schrader in the yellow car, and here comes Ricky Rudd in the car number 28.
I thought Kenny Wallace ran so well that Square D car to begin with, and in the middle part of the race, or just after the restart, after the rain delay, I saw him back in the field. It looked like he had a problem, and he couldn't pass cars, but I guess it's just in heavy traffic, and he picked up that aero push because now it looks like he's marching back towards the front. Guys are about 23 seconds behind the leader. It takes about 32 seconds to get around the racetrack. So my suggestion would be to get up and go as quickly as you can.
Yeah, they've got about 9 seconds before the leader would catch them.
Ricky Rudd is showing the greatest improvement in terms of point standings from last year. Jeff Gordon going to the inside of Robert Presley, and Mark Martin coming along. So that's how close 1st and 2nd are, and Martin closes in quickly on Jeff.
Yeah, he has moved in very quickly. And again, Jeff Gordon has been out there a little longer on his tires than Mark has. Beginning to show up a little bit. You can see there about a mile-an-hour difference in their lap.
And Robert Presley's back on the racetrack after suffering that heavy damage that he did off turn 2 early in the race.
And we told you that Darrell Waltrip earlier went back on the track after replacing the coil. Well, he is now behind the wall and shown now as out of the race. Well, Nadeau and Schrader and Ricky Rudd and Matt Kenseth here having a nice little battle.
And Nadeau is losing some spots. Both those cars go by, and Dale Earnhardt has now gone past Jeff Burton. So all of a sudden, that Exide car just not exactly what they're looking for as far as the chassis is concerned.
And the battle up front is a very good one also. Mark Martin within now about a car length and a half or so of the leader of the race, Jeff Gordon. Now, Jeremy Mayfield still has led the most laps at this point. Gordon has led 22. Martin 20, Marcus 13, Spencer 2, and Darrell Waltrip and Chad Little both led 1 lap. 7 leaders, 9 lead changes in the first 164 laps.
Well, Mark moved up pretty quickly on Gordon, but since he caught him, hasn't been able to do much with him.
Once again, and we talk about that aerodynamic push, and that's exactly what we're talking about. When you pull up behind the car, you can't get that full complement of air on the nose of the car, and you pick up that push off the corner. You're not able to turn under and make the pass like you want to.
John Andretti comes back into the race as the 25 is showing damage on the right side of the car, and Jerry Nadeau brings the MichaelHolligan.com car in for a stop.
The Darlington stripe strikes.
Push that brake back up underneath the left front. Push that brake forward. Left front brake. Shane, push that brake.
Talking to Shane Parsnow, the front tire changer.
And Mark Martin takes a shot at Jeff Gordon off of corner number 4. They're side by side at the line, and Martin has the better line into the corner, and Mark Martin goes back into the lead. And you can hear the crowd reaction in the background. So on lap number 167, Mark Martin goes back into the lead. Gordon is second, followed by Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Burke.
Getting grip to get around the corner.
Mark Martin has finished 9th or better in 7 of the last 9 races here. He won the Southern 500 back in 1993. Tony Stewart runs in 3rd. He's about 2.8 seconds behind.
Dale Earnhardt another 1.2 seconds behind Tony Stewart. There's Earnhardt. And here comes Dale Jarrett behind the 3 car of Dale Earnhardt.
Jarrett was able to pass by Jeff Burton while we were in break, and so put Dale Jarrett up in 5th spot. 99 slips back to 6th position. You're coming up through the field. The handle on the car has gone away. And the next car that will go a lap down, believe it or not.
Oh, trouble up in turns 1 and 2.
Jeffrey Bodine up against the wall.
And the caution flag is out, so Rusty Wallace catches a huge break.
Just about to say that Rusty was the next car to go a lap down, but what a break for him. And the Power Team Chevy is shedding parts.
Big break for Rusty there, and also Bobby Labonte was just about to get caught up in Bodine's situation there.
Bobby Labonte, points leader, currently being shown in 11th position.
22 cars now on the lead lap.
Replay of what happened up in turn number 1.
There's some contact between David Green in the 99 and the 60, but I think the contact happened after Jeffrey Bodine had lost control, Ned.
Yes.
On board with Rick Mast, it's way up ahead of him.
Says, I got to get this thing slowed down here. Pick me a spot through that smoke.
Rick Mast being shown in 9th spot right now. A lot of damage to that ride. Here they come.
Pits are open, and the crews are about to go to work once again here on the 174th lap. Down to John Kernan in the Tony Stewart pit.
Tony Stewart, the first among the leaders to hit his pit stall. It'll be a 4-tire change, no chassis adjustments, but they went a ½ pound of air pressure down on all 4 tires. Already done with the right side, they swing around to the left to Bill Weber.
You see the 6, the 24, and the 3. The 24 is pitted directly behind the 6. No changes for Mark Martin. Still happy with the car. The 24 is a little tight. A track bar adjustment. We go to Jerry.
Bottom of your screen, Earnhardt a little bit loose. A slight adjustment there. Said I can't drive the car as quickly as I want to or as hard as I want to. Earnhardt is down the way. He and 88 car almost get together on pit road, and Earnhardt will be the first one off. And by the way, they just told Earnhardt severe thunderstorms are 8 miles away. According to radar, this was a very critical pit stop for the Goodrich team.
Wow.
Wow. And we're still, what, about 10 laps or so away from the halfway point? 13 laps. Now watch as Bobby Labonte almost gets caught up in this Jeffrey Bodine problem.
Okay, he decides he'll go down below him, and then Bodine's car comes down here. Bobby got by, though, before they made any contact.
Looked like he was almost chasing the 18 car for a second. Not the case.
Now watch as Jarrett, Earnhardt, and Gordon try to get out of the pits at the same time.
Some great pit stops there.
I tell you what, if there's rain coming, this next few laps are going to be exciting.
Southern 500 under caution once again. Back in a moment. We are nearing the halfway point. Halfway is 184. We're about to complete 176 laps. There is a report of rain in the area. Dale Earnhardt is leading his first Darlington race since the Southern 500 in 1995. Jerry?
Bob Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, and the guys at the front of the field have been told they've also sent people over to look at the NASCAR radar, and it looks very, very ugly. Southwest of here, us about 8.5 to 9 miles away, it is yellow and bright red. That indicates severe weather and severe thunderstorms. As you mentioned, we are 8 laps from halfway. They have told Earnhardt and Jarrett, and by the way, they're involved in a pretty serious points battle trying to get Bobby Labonte at the next 8 laps to determine who wins the Southern 500.
This is going to be interesting. Well, let's check out the crew cam here on that most recent round of pit stops.
Shane Parsnow, the front tire changer for MichaelHolligan.com, number 25, driven by Jerry Nadeau. And he takes it off, and they're going to take out a spring rubber, make some adjustment in the right front. Shane said, I'll just clean the grill while they're doing that. They're not finished. They're going to check again. Well, they're still under there. Glenn Lennox, the tire carrier, finally finished. He puts the tire up there, and Shane will tighten it back up. Okay, let's go. Right sides only.
Now we once again look at a cockpit summary. Earnhardt picks up 3 positions. Jarrett, 3. Jeff Gordon lost 1. Tony Stewart lost 1. And Ward Burton gained 2. And the 18 of Bobby Labonte got into the top 10. But Mark Martin lost 5 positions. Yeah. How about that?
Hard to believe.
Well, we're going to turn them loose again one more time. Bill has more on Mark Martin.
As you can tell by the fact he lost positions, their pit stop was a little slow, 17.288. These guys have really knocked out great pit stops lately. This just happened to be one of the ones. They didn't hit them all. So a slow pit stop for the 6 bunch here on pit road.
Well, let's reset the situation. We are coming up on the halfway point in about 6 more laps, and at the front of the field is Dale Earnhardt, who has won 9 races here at Darlington. Should he win today, he will tie David Pearson's record for 10 wins. And so we could be racing here to the halfway point with weather very, very close. 22 cars on the lead lap. The PGA coming up after the conclusion of our race.
PGA up in Canada for the Air Canada Classic. Brett Bodine, the 11th car on the inside, the Ralph Supermarket car up there. Try to contest Earnhardt to get a lap back.
Earnhardt is so good on those restarts. He pulls away. DJ going for the lead.
Jarrett does get the lead. That was quick. In the second corner, Dale Jarrett goes to the front.
also 5 bonus points, but he also would like to, in case it does rain, be out front when it does.
He has not been one of the 8 leaders that we have had, so as he crosses the line, he will become the 9th leader of the afternoon. Jarrett has won twice here.
DJ almost got in the wall up in 1 and 2, had to squeeze out of the throttle and allowed Dale Earnhardt to pose up on that back bumper.
The 88 and the 3 are very much involved in the championship battle, but Jeff Gordon, he is back in the 10th position in the point standings, just wants to have a good finish and gain some points. But these two still have their eyes set on a championship. In Dale Earnhardt's case, an 8th championship. But right now it's Jarrett. But look at Gordon, who was in first, and Gordon tries to take second from Earnhardt and gets that car way down on the apron of the racetrack.
He got a tremendous run off turn 2, got up the side of Earnhardt, but could not make it stick.
DJ, I think, is having trouble down in 1 and 2. Car is not exactly like he wants it to be. And here goes Earnhardt.
Earnhardt gets it back, and Gordon comes to second.
Well, he tries to go second, and he does. Now, here comes Tony Stewart. Does he have a run on DJ? Yes, he does.
Well, Jarrett falls from first to fourth and a half lap.
Then it was right. It just, the car was not like he needed up between turn 1 and 2.
There is lightning over turn number 3. 2 laps from the halfway point. They have to complete a lap more than halfway for it to be an official race. We're on board with Tony Stewart running third.
And Dale Earnhardt is just pulling away from Jeff Gordon.
The last time Earnhardt won was in the spring race of 1994.
Two distinct different lines. Gordon running very low in turns 3 and 4. Earnhardt running very high.
You see Ward Burton back there in the 22 cars. He's trying to get around the launch car of Brett Bodine. Ward is in 5th spot.
Mark Martin back in 6th spot.
Tony Stewart now working on Jeff Gordon.
A couple of former Indiana residents right here doing battle.
They've had a couple of battles here recently on the racetrack. It's amazing how they found each other on the racetrack in the last month or so.
Yeah, it sure is. Halfway signal given to the field, this time by.
So next time it will be a complete race if we get rain.
But maybe we won't get rain. I'd like to see this thing go, because right now this thing's shaping up to be.
Martin came off the corner high.
Yeah, just passing Brett Ledine and almost bought the farm, as they say. I understand Mark is complaining about his car being a little bit tight with this set of tires.
Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart now seem to be closing in just a little bit on Dale Earnhardt. I'll keep an eye. Last time by, they were faster by about a half mile per hour.
Tony Stewart way down on the bottom side of the track while Gordon maintains that high line. Tony Stewart has 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s here in his 3 starts.
Well, that time Earnhardt was about a half mile per hour faster than these 2 cars, so.
This is the same car, by the way, that Tony Stewart drove here in the spring, in which he started 9th and finished in 4th position. It's Dale Earnhardt, though, leading after 186 laps over Gordon, Stewart, Jarrett, and Ward Burton. We'll be right back. 100 presented by Kmart, 191 laps old. Dale Earnhardt is the leader. There's Dale Jarrett, who lines up 4th behind Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart, and Ward Burton right behind Jarrett. Mark Martin 6th, followed by the points leader, Bobby Labonte, who is in 7th spot.
Just quietly driven a great, smart race. Bobby Labonte has found himself now right up there in 7th position, not too far behind.
That thunderstorm that we have been watching apparently is not going to affect us. At least let's hope not. It seems to be moving away from the track rather than right over it as the showers did earlier in the day. There is the points leader, Bobby Labonte, up the 7th spot.
And once again, I repeat, he's in the perfect spot where he wants to be, a few car lengths behind the car in front of him, and no one pressed on the back bumper of his Interstate Batteries Pontiac.
Bill has a story on the 28 car of Ricky Rudd.
Benny and Ned, you're going to love this. When Ricky Rudd got back in the car after the rain delay and they were circling the track under caution, he was trying to adjust the head support to the right side of his head. And he noticed it was flexing a little bit, so he tried to move it, and it broke off. So he does not have any head support on the right side of his seat. Under caution, or when he pitted, they gave him a collar or a brace that Simpson Race Products makes to see if that helps him a little bit. But he broke that off, so he's driven the bulk of this race with no head support on the right side. One thing about Ricky, because he's not an owner anymore, he has got himself in excellent physical shape. This track will test that today.
Yes, it will, Bill. I always used a solid strap that went around my arm and hooked onto the helmet to keep my head from falling over. Tremendous amount of strain on these oval tracks that NASCAR Winter Cup cars run on.
Boy, you keep that pressure for so long between 1 and 2 because the turn is so long around there, and it's just a constant pressure.
Ricky Rudd is running in the 15th position. Scott Pruitt just up ahead and Rusty Wallace behind.
Ricky Rudd's looks like he's fallen himself from last year, doesn't it?
Well, he rode those Tide colors for a long, long time.
And the Cal Wells team announced that they will be a 2-car team as we knew next year. We didn't know who the driver was going to be, but now we do. It's going to be Andy Houston.
Andy Houston, now the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And one other thing that was announced this weekend, Cale Yarborough, who of course is from nearby Kevinsville, he has sold that team to McPherson Motorsports, and they will run full season next year. And they are going to have Jeff Fuller driving that car.
All right, folks. Jeff Gordon getting closer and closer and closer.
Boy, the last couple of laps, Benny, he has just mowed him down. Earnhardt might have used his car up there, these tires up there, jumping out front, hoping that rain would come quickly. And now it might be, he might be suffering the consequences.
That's right. He's talked about, we've heard Earnhardt, and today on NASCAR Today, he talked about being patient with those tires. And we see Tony Stewart has lost that third spot to Dale Jarrett. And could it be that Earnhardt hoped the rain would come and he raced to the halfway point, and he has, as Ned said, used up. And Tony Stewart has a problem. He is off the pace as Ward Burton goes by.
Ward Burton takes over that 4th spot. And Earnhardt and Gordon are just a couple of car lengths.
And he's still going backwards. Mark Martin, he just let Mark go by on the outside. What's the problem, John?
Tony thinks he has a tire going down, so they're going to have to bring him onto pit road, change 4 tires. Be waiting. Greg Zipadelli barking out commands to the crews. Tony makes his way down pit road. 45 miles an hour. What they have to hope now, this is going to put them off sequence. They're going to have to hope that it does not rain and that they can stay out there under green before the next round of pit stops for everyone else. Stewart working his way slowly into the pits. Looks like the tires on the left side are up. I can't see on the right side, but, well, actually, the left front looks like it's fairly low in air pressure. So left's going on now for Tony Stewart. Just a terrible, terrible break. They get the left that's tight, and he is down and away.
Well, that is a bad, bad break. It takes so long to come down this long pit road here at Darlington under green.
Jeff Gordon has been getting a great run off turn 2, but right now it looks like Dale Jarrett may be the guy that's getting a great run as he closes up right on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. I want to play with you guys.
They're coming up on David Green, who's driving the number 94, the Bill Elliott car. David moves all the way down to the inside of the racetrack. He's not going to Bexel.
He's now 3 laps down in 34th position.
And Ward Burton is closing in. Caterpillar car's in 4th spot. He closes in on these top 3.
In fact, the last lap, DJ was the fastest car of the top 6, and Ward Burton was the second fastest, just almost as fast as DJ.
Jarrett has never won the Southern 500. He has 2 victories here, but they both come in the spring race. A while ago, I was talking about memorable moments, and remember Bill Elliott's win of the $1 million, but unfortunately, Ned, one of the other things that immediately popped to mind when I think of the Southern 500 is Dale's "I'm in the wall" comment when he was going for the million.
Yep. Well, it's rain on the roof we're here and rain on pit road. It could be coming close to an end here.
And Jarrett goes down to the inside, looks inside of Gordon. They cross the line, though, with Earnhardt still in the lead. Gordon, then Jarrett, then Ward Burton and Mark Martin.
Buddy, and up here, so now's the time if you can do anything.
Yep, now's the time if you do anything. That's right. Gordon goes high. Here comes DJ.
Yep.
Will it work? No.
Once again, we see lightning in turn number 3, or past turn number 3.
These guys are absolutely driving their heart out. They know that the end could be near for this race. Earnhardt's opening up about a 5-car length lead here now. He'll sit in his mirror and say, boy, that looks good. But here comes Gordon back again. He's been getting that good run off of turn 2, better than Earnhardt, and moves him right back in there. Mark Martin beginning to close in on these guys, too. His car was tight with those new tires on it, but apparently it's beginning to come in now.
Caution is out. The caution is out.
Caution is out. You don't have it yet, though.
I don't think the leaders got the caution flag, did they?
I don't think so. I don't think the leaders did get the caution, so they got to race back to the line.
Gordon is too far behind to make a challenge, it looks like, although he moves in closer as they come through the corners. We watch them come off the corner, and they will come down to the caution flag in that same order.
And I tell you what, folks, there will not be any pit stops right now. If this racetrack gets wet, this baby is over, and Dale Earnhardt has won his 10th race at Darlington.
Yeah, because as late as it is now, if it gets as wet as it did before, there'd be no way that they could get the track dry again.
Caution comes out at the end of 206 laps. Jerry, what's it like down there?
Well, Richard Childress talking to his driver, RC. The rain is picking up, and you told Dale we're going to gamble. What you going to do?
Well, we're going to stay out. You know, I'm telling them to stay out. Yeah, we're just going to stay out right here. You know, if it clears, we'll be in trouble. If it stays out, we'd have a shot of winning the race.
But what you've been told is that the rains coming in are pretty severe.
Yeah, it's a lot of red sails just to the south of us over here coming in.
All right, they keep telling Earnhardt to stay out, stay out. If this rain hits, and as Benny said, if it hits hard, he could have just won his 10th race at Darlington in the Southern 500.
And, Jerry, I'm not so sure that he'd be in trouble, as Richard Childress said there, if it clears. Now, some of the ones that near the back of the pack, yes, they'll come in. But I think the majority of them are going to stay out there because they don't want to lose those positions.
Well, here are some of the guys that are in the back of the lead lap and are making pit stops. We saw Terry Labonte stop, and now here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. down. We saw Elliott Sadler also come on to pit road.
Yeah, you can't blame them. They were back there in the back. They have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
If it goes back green flag racing, they'll have fresh tires, and the leaders will have to pit, so they'll start up front.
Exactly. That's what will happen. Now, if no more than these three make pit stops here, then the leaders will be okay. Even if it does go back to green flag again, they would just have 3 cars to pass as opposed to if 10 or 12 of them stopped.
Earnhardt gets the work done on his car. Earnhardt Jr., that is. Elliott Sadler also coming out of the pits right behind him. Well, the caution flag out once again because of rain or sprinkles, at least, here on the front straightaway. The top 5 are Earnhardt, Gordon, Jarrett, Ward Burton, and Mark Martin. Back in just a moment to Darlington. Caution remains out because of some light rain over the racetrack. There is heavy rain not too far from the racetrack. As to whether it will move this way, we don't know right now. But Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race right now under caution, 208 laps completed. Well, the NFL season officially began today. We around the racetrack. Everybody has their eyes on the skies. Bill?
Okay, well, I'm here in the 24 pit. Robbie Loomis is watching the track, talking to your driver. First of all, your car's still a little tight.
Yeah, the car's been extremely tight all day long. We've been adjusting on it. The guys are doing a real good job with that. Jeff's pretty happy with it right there, and we got up behind the 3. We got tight again, so we just have to see what happens here.
Obviously, you're watching the weather, Robbie.
Yeah, the weather's the biggest deal. We're trying to decide whether to come in now or stay out there.
Okay, and what they are here, they're in a pit mode, and they're going to do whatever the guys in front of them do. So we go down and check on one of those guys, and that'd be with Jerry in the 88.
Okay, well, we're Todd Parrott. And Todd, obviously you guys elected to stay out. What are you being told from your spotters about the weather?
Same thing that I'm feeling right here in the pit. That it looks like it's raining, drizzling a little bit, but it's let up a little bit. So do whatever those leaders do.
The car looked to be really coming in the last 4 or 5 laps. What has DJ said about the car if we get back to green?
Well, he said, you know, right there at the start, you know, the car was obviously good. It was free enough on new tires to get by Earnhardt and get the lead, but the car was a little bit too free right there. We freed it up a little bit, but right before the caution come out, he finally come on that, you know, the car was coming in. You know, it took about 25, 30 laps for our car to come in. Like everybody knows, our car don't run on a short run. It's a long run race car, and you know, just hopefully this thing will get back green, and you know, maybe the guys that didn't get tires or whatever pit strategy seems to play out here at the Southern 500. Who knows? A lot of speculating going on down here.
All right, Todd Parrott will let him go back and talk to his driver, Dale Jarrett. Let's check in with John Kernan.
And I'm in point leader Bobby Labonte's pit with his crew chief Jimmy Maycar. The team has made up 14 spots on pit road, another 17 by Bobby out on the racetrack. And Jimmy, I heard Bobby say he was ready to go racing now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've been working on the car all day. We didn't start out with a real good race car, and we've been able to maintain staying in the lead lap and worked on it every pit stop, and we're just now getting the car around to where he said he's starting to be able to race with them, and so we need an adjustment or 2 more, I think, and we can make the right ones, you know, we'll be there. So we're ready to go racing.
What about this weather? Have you sent some guys down to check on the radar? What do you think? Are we going to get back to green?
I think so. It's quit raining right now, and we're talking about getting back to green real soon here, so we're getting ready.
All right, well, they're getting ready to possibly bring Bobby in for a pit stop, so I'll, in fact, everybody's coming in.
Well, but DJ.
And Earnhardt, too.
Earnhardt stayed out there. Well,
oh, boy. Okay, Bobby's in.
It's going to get interesting.
Gordon leads that group down, John.
And Bobby Labonte back here on the last island. They make a wedge adjustment. The car was just a little bit too loose, so they try and tighten it up a little bit. Now the tires going on the left side. Wait, get all the lug nuts tightened. A good pit stop to Bill Weber.
Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon are both here on pit road. Again, Martin is in front of Gordon. It's a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment for the 6 car. His car is tightened up. As we just heard, Robbie Loomis said Jeff Gordon's car has been tight since they got here. Gordon's going to beat up Bobby Labonte, then it's Burton, and then Mark Martin is away. Let's go to Jerry.
Ward Burton getting 4 tires. His car has been a little bit tight. He will try to beat Gordon and Labonte off of pit road as they race back to turn 1. 4 tires, slight air pressure for Ward Burton.
And the 3 in the 88, Earnhardt and Jarrett, are going to take a chance.
Wow. It's a big chance. They're gambling big that it's going to rain.
Boy, now that is, you talk about gambling, folks, that is huge. Because if it doesn't rain, it will take them 2 pit stops to get back to the front. I'm talking about 125 miles to get back to the front.
It sure will. Wow.
Reminder once again that the PGA Air Canada Championship is coming up at the conclusion of this race. The rain has not become that hard. It is sprinkling enough to keep the race under caution, and the NASCAR officials are watching the cell that contains heavy rain, not knowing, as we don't, which way exactly it's going to go. Now, if we should get rain here in the next few minutes and this race does not go under green again, Bobby Labonte, by making that pit stop, will lose 80 valuable points. Right now, it's Earnhardt, Jarrett, Spencer, Musgrave, and Schrader, the top 5. Same for the moment. The caution remains out. We thought we were going to go back to green, but they decided not to, so we remain under caution here with Dale Earnhardt right behind the pace car and Jarrett right behind Earnhardt, and you can see by the puddle that it's beginning to sprinkle again, Doctor.
Interesting discussion between Dale Earnhardt and his owner, Richard Childress. Now, a moment ago, Earnhardt said, guys, with those other guys with fresh tires, I can't run on these worn-out tires. We don't have a chance. We're sitting ducks out here. And Childress said, look, you and the 88 were the two who did not pit, and there are 8 cars between you two and the first top car with fresh tires. Earnhardt said, I've got to pit. I can't race if we go back green. I'm a sitting duck. And Childress said, we're not going to go back green. It's going to rain again in another lap or 2. He puts the umbrella up. The word is that there's raindrops in turn 3, and now the team here is signaling that it's pouring. I can feel a drop or 2, but as far as they're concerned, it is a torrential downpour.
Of course.
Yeah, they've got those umbrellas up saying, man, this is a torrential downpour. Somebody do something.
Yeah.
Rain is not an uncommon occurrence at this racetrack, whether it be in the spring or the fall. In the spring of 1999, Jeff Burton survived an incident at the start of that race, and then the rains came out, and Jeff Burton was in front. He did a little rain dance, and it was successful because he was the winner. And then in the Southern 500 last September 5th, again, it was a rain-shortened event, and again, Jeff Burton was the winner and took home a huge paycheck. Right now, he is in what, 11th position?
11th position,
Yep.
yeah. And Bobby Labonte's in 10th place. You mentioned a moment ago that he would lose 80 points, but a lot of cars have pitted since then and has allowed him to move back up, so he didn't lose nearly as many points as it thought there for a moment.
Now, unofficially right now, he would lose 40 points, and Dale would be 50 behind. So, Dale Earnhardt remains on the racetrack, and the pace car continues to circle around at 50 miles an hour. Now, as we look back through the field, there is the driver who is running closest to the front and has the freshest tires.
Exactly. They stopped when the caution first came out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 21 car of Elliott Sadler, they're sitting there in 5th and 6th position now, and Terry Labonte was also one that stopped early. And so they've gained tremendous position here if this thing should come to a close.
Elliott Sadler with another good run. Started 21st and is currently in the 6th position. He is coming off his best career finish, a 7th last week at Bristol. And it is raining harder. There's no question about that. Even the NASCAR officials admit that it's raining hard enough to bring out the umbrellas. There it is, not a downpour yet, but it is raining harder. The PGA Air Canada Championship is coming up next here on ESPN when this race is concluded. We'll take another break and be back in just a moment with more. Off and on precipitation. We had a 2-hour and 7-minute rain delay early in the event, and now we are back under caution because of rain. We are, of course, past the halfway point. We've completed 216 laps, and that is the question right now, whether these drivers should stay out there and hope that it rains, or whether they should come in and get fresh tires in case that it doesn't rain and we can go back to racing.
Well, the two Dales have made that commitment. They don't have any choice now but to stay out there. Then if this race should get started when they get one to go, they'd have to come into the pits then.
It's a good sign for them when the windshield wipers are on the pace car and the jet drivers are on the speedway, trying to make sure that if this cell that's around the racetrack moves away, that the NASCAR officials don't lose the track. They want it to be sure and keep it as dry as they can.
First time I remember seeing the jets on the racetrack when the cars are still circling around.
Yep. They are over in turn number 3 where it has rained the hardest. The track is the wettest.
There's no takers.
Yeah, the pits are open, but nobody taking advantage.
Yeah, that's like giving away $10 bills in here, folks. Who wants to come in and get some?
Now, folks, there are 21 cars on the lead lap. Tony Stewart, bad break for him. He had that flat tire, and he went a lap down. There were 22 cars on the lead lap when we restarted the last time from a caution, but Tony had that mishap, and he went a lap down. He's being shown in the 24th position at the moment.
Here's a Napa Field summary. Earnhardt and Jarrett, followed by Jimmy Spencer in third, then Schrader, Earnhardt Jr., Elliott Sadler, Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Ward Burton, and Bobby Labonte.
Those 4 front cars have not pitted during this caution. Everybody else from behind there has.
See, Ted Musgrave, as Ned said, 21 cars in the lead lap. Ted Musgrave, the last of that group. Blaney will lead the group of the cars 1 lap down, and then goes back to 30th. Even actually goes back to 32nd. Dave Marcus and Brett Bodine both just 1 lap down. Robert Press is out there 80 laps down. John Andretti 91 laps down.
Johnny Benson 120 laps down. Coming up next, the PGA Air Canada Championship.
NASCAR is certainly doing everything they can possibly do to try to get this race in. Are the windshield wipers off now? No, they're doing it.
Well, the other thing we have to think about if they should go back to green is darkness, because with the heavy cloud cover, it will get darker a little earlier than normal, and as to whether we would be able to get a full race in remains a question mark.
I don't think so, Bob. I don't think even if it stops raining that they could run 367 laps because it's going to be dark with this cloud cover about 7 o'clock, I would guess.
About to complete the 219th lap. Well, the fans are patient. They have been here through the rain delays, and they are still anxiously waiting to see how this one turns out.
Probably take close to an hour and a half if they went green right now to complete the rest of the laps if there were no other cautions.
And that would be beyond darkness.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that it would be too dark to race at 7:30. But they can run some more laps.
Oh, yeah.
Down to Bill Weather. What's the weather like where you are, Billy?
Oh, it's actually dry where I'm at, Bob, but then I'm under a little bit of cover here. And I just got here, and this is the weather radar at the NASCAR truck here in the garage. And what I'm told, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this cell, which you can see is flashing red with the yellow and the orange, is moving almost in a northeasterly fashion and basically is going to cross right. Here's the racetrack right here at the tip of my finger, and this cell is moving this way and basically is on a collision course if it continues to move in that direction. So this radar just updated itself about 2 minutes ago, and it had proceeded in a northeasterly direction, so it is moving this way. We're right here. I'm getting my umbrella, but we'll see what happens. Right now, it is not raining here in the garage area, and it was not raining when I walked in here from pit road. So that forecast isn't good, but right now it is not raining here where I'm standing at the track.
Well, that's a good indication that it isn't raining because their umbrellas are closed.
More from Jerry.
Well, now with the raindrops minimizing here around the racetrack, there's a lot of discussion ongoing. What does Dale Earnhardt do? And Childress asked him a moment ago, what do you want to do, Dale? We'll let you make the call. He said, well, I could hold them off for a few laps if we were to go back to green, but not for very long. I can climb up on this wheel and hold them off, but if we go green for a long period of time, I'll get lapped. He said, so what do we do? And he said, well, let's hang on for a few more laps if the rain does come back. And they saw the report we just showed a moment ago. They also have people up there standing at the radar, radioing to Dale Earnhardt about the red that's moving this way. It should be over the track momentarily. So they're going to hang on and hope and pray that for at least their sake, what they're wanting the rain to move in and this thing to be over.
We mentioned the race was rain shortened last year. They completed 270 laps last year. We are right now on the 220th lap of 367. A long afternoon is still underway here at this track. Too tough to tame. You see up there at the top of your screen, the flashing lights are from the jet dryers that are still working the racetrack, trying to get it dry. That's where most of the rain fell, up in turns 3 and 4. And we have been running under caution now for several laps, and we're wondering whether it's going to rain harder or whether it's going to stop and we can get this race back under green. Running in third position at the moment is Jimmy Spencer. This would be his best finish of this year. Right now, his best finish was at Talladega when he finished 5th. Right now, he's in our spotlight.
The late Mark Donohue became a favorite of mine because it was the first IndyCar race I saw, and he won it in the yellow and blue Sunoco car. A.J. Foyt, Junior Johnson, Kerry Arbor always gave it his all. Bobby Allison, he was a racer. Losing your friends in the sport, that hurts. There's got to be some way to slow these cars down because it will be a better race. It doesn't matter that one car can run a half a second quicker than the other. What matters is that if they all run a second slower and we put on a better race, the fans will keep coming. The bright side of this sport, and the good side for us, is running good. Coming out of here with a good finish. There's only ever one winner. And everybody else is losing. 42 losers and one winner. That's the bottom line.
Jimmy Spencer talking about a lot of subjects that are currently under discussion. Mr. Excitement from Berwick, Pennsylvania, currently running in third position behind Jarrett and the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Well, we welcome you on ESPN2. We are now simulcasting here for a few moments, both on ESPN and ESPN2. As you know, we have gone long past our scheduled off time on ESPN. And because of that, we're going to switch right now to ESPN2. So those of you watching on ESPN2, stay with us. If you're on ESPN and want to see the rest of this race, go to ESPN2 right now. The PGA Air Canada Championship will be coming up on ESPN. Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race. So again, ESPN2 is where you'll be able to catch the rest of the Pepsi Southern 500. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch, Bill Weber, and John Kernan. We have completed 223 laps of this race at Darlington, South Carolina, and here's the way they are running as we are under caution because of rain. Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett have not stopped for a pit stop, and that's put them at the front of the field, while everybody else, or most everybody else, has pitted during this caution.
Well, neither has Jimmy Spencer or Kenny Schrader. From 5th on back. Now, all these cars have pitted. They've changed 4 tires. They are good to go if this race should start back.
21 cars are on the lead lap. Dave Blaney, the first car a lap down.
Bob, we have had the jet blowers out there at the same time. The cars have been circling the track, and I understand that the jet blowers are about to come off the track.
Well, that's good news. This thing back going again.
There they go, back behind the wall.
Yep.
So looks to me like we may be seeing some green flag racing. Now the question, will Earnhardt pit? Will he come in and get more fresh tires, or will he stay out there and try to hold them off as long as he can?
Well, this is crunch time. Big decisions to be made here. They've already taken a big gamble. Both Earnhardt, Jarrett, Jimmy Spencer, and Kenny Schrader all stayed out there. Looks like they're staying out there again.
Well, they are. They have not taken advantage of the opportunity to come in. We're going to take a break and be back with more in just a moment. And when they come across the line next time, they're going to get the one-to-go signal. So is Earnhardt going to pit?
Oh, boy. Let's see. They're getting close to the pit entrance now.
You've got to make a decision.
I don't believe they will.
You think they're going to stay out? Oh, here comes Earnhardt. Here comes Jarrett.
Yep, they are.
They all come down pit road. Oh, man.
The 4 who did not pit are pitting right now. That's going to give the lead to Dale Earnhardt Jr. So his father relinquishes the lead to his son. as they now come in, and let's see if they do indeed get the 1 to go signal. Yes, they are. 1 to go, and we're back to racing.
Now, Dale Jr. just said, man, why don't just the bottom fall out? Why doesn't it rain so hard right now?
Big gamble they took and lost.
Down to Bill.
Well, Jimmy Spencer's one of the guys that gambled and looks like he's lost. He's going to get 4 tires and give him enough fuel to get back out there. But 4 tires of fuel for Spencer. We go to Jerry.
Both Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett pitting nose to tail. Both a chassis adjustment. Both cars a little bit loose. 4 tires going on. They waited as long as they could. Couldn't afford to stay out. They would have gotten left long green flag run. Earnhart is down. Then Spencer. Then Dale Jarrett in that order with Kenny Schrader behind him with the green coming next time by.
But they fall all the way back.
Well, they got, let's see how many cars are on the racetrack. 35. So they got about 30 cars. It's not only those on the lead lap that they got to pass. They got all of those others that they have to pass as well.
Now the 18 car of Bobby Labonte trying to win that championship that's so important to everyone, picked up four positions there.
He's going to be in 6th on this restart and in front of the 2 who are chasing him. Big time gambling here at Darlington.
Elliott Sadler is going to be running in 2nd position. Terry Labonte and Jeff Gordon. As once again we go back to green. Go. Southern 500. Blaney trying to get his lap back in the 93 car.
Well, these first few laps will be tense because there are a lot of cars that are lap down trying to get their laps back and trying to pass other cars who are in there with them.
Contact there between Earnhardt and Blaney.
And Tony Stewart at Home Depot car is a lap down. He wants to get by all these guys and get up and pass and get back in the lead lap as quick as he can.
He has fast race cars. He sees his opportunity to do that.
Tony's shown in 22nd position. The 18 at Bobby Labonte comes forward. Now up to 5th, right behind Ward Burton.
Boy, Earnhardt back there is passing some race cars. He's in the thick of a lot of things as we watch this up front here. We watch Earnhardt come into the picture.
Earnhardt somewhere in that mess. There he is.
Yeah, he's already passed several cars. He's up to 16th position already.
And Jimmy Spencer is following. And he goes by Rick Mass. Here comes Spencer by Mass, taking away a spot. And he goes on the inside, 3 wide. Whoa. Spencer's on the outside. And Spencer's going to try to drive up on Ricky's run, and does he passes Earnhardt.
Wow, Jimmy Spencer is on a mission.
And contact there between Spencer and Rudd. Jimmy Spencer's up to 13th.
Boy, this is heavy stuff in there where those cars are running.
There's Rusty Wallace running back there, and also Dale Jarrett. Here is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Gordon, Ward Burton, and Bobby Labonte. They're running about 2 seconds behind the leader of the race, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Elliott Sadler's up in 2nd spot. This is, like you said, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And they have the lap car of Dave Blaney between themselves and the 1st and 2nd place car. And Tony Stewart.
John has more on the run of the 21 car of Elliott Sadler.
Bob Elliott's holding on right now in 2nd spot, but he just radioed and told the crew that the car is really tight. I guess that means the extra emphasis that it really is tight.
Earnhardt Jr. just driving away.
On board with Tony Stewart now, who again is a lap down in 22nd position. Made an unscheduled pit stop when he cut a tire. Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has a 1-second advantage now on Elliott Sadler. A little bit earlier, we were talking about the possibility of his father winning this race, and now we talk about the possibility of Dale Jr. winning the event. Here is Mark Martin, who passed the 5-car of Terry Labonte, and Mark Martin moves up to 7th.
33 car of Jimmy Nemechek, Oakwood Holmes car, in front of Jeff Burton. There is a lap down. Currently in 24th position. And Mark tries to drive under Burton. Has a run. Looks like he's going to take that spot away. He does.
Jimmy Spencer and Dale Earnhardt have moved up to 12th and 13th.
Here they come, inside of Mike Bliss. Niagara Pontiac.
That is not 4 positions.
Mike Bliss is a lap down, running in 31st spot.
Kenny Wallace, who was running in 11th position, was slowed on the backstretch in his own pit road, and we'll see if he makes that dreaded left-hand turn. No, he's going on to his pits.
Dale Jarrett just lost 3 positions on the last lap. Don't know if something's gone wrong with his car or not. He's trying to pass Rusty Wallace, and now 3 cars got by him on the last lap. Apparently a flat tire for Kenny Wallace.
Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Kenny Wallace is here on pit road, getting 4 tires of fuel. I have no idea why he came in, but he's getting back out. We'll check and find out.
16.6-second pit stop for Kenny, and he motors back onto the racetrack as Earnhardt comes down at full speed.
Right now, he's almost 2.5 seconds in front of Elliott Sadler. Jeff Gordon almost 4 seconds back, and we're told that Kenny Wallace, the right rear tire was loose on his car, and the vibration, he didn't realize what was wrong, had to make an unscheduled pit stop.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., that last lap was about 1.5 miles an hour faster than Elliott Sadler. Back in a moment, where the 7th caution of the race is currently being shown. On lap number 240, it was for an incident involving Jimmy Spencer, and as you can see, pit road once again becomes very busy. John?
Bobby Labonte's crew goes to work. The only adjustment, they want to pound down on the right front tire. Other than that, the car is much to Bobby's liking. Remember, during that last rain delay, he said, hey, I hope it goes back to green because I'm ready to go racing. Left side lug that's going on. A great pit stop to Bill Weber.
Triple pits, 8:21 in the 24. Gordon tosses out the water bottle. They will make a wedge adjustment. Remember, this car's been tight since Friday. We'll get 4 tires. They top off the fuel. Didn't need to do much of that. Let's check on the 8 with Jerry.
Chevy, Ford, and Chevrolet. 21 cars out. Bottom of your screen. Earnhardt Jr., no changes. 4 tires, full of fuel. Down the way. He will race Bobby Labonte to 99.
Looks like Bobby Labonte's going to win that race off pit road.
Boy, that'll let him lead the race for the first time today, give him those 5 bonus points.
Yep.
And Jimmy Spencer was crashed coming off turn 4. That's what caused the caution flag. And he's tried to get back to the pit area. His car is stalled. He's on the racetrack. Let's see if we can see what might have happened just at the very top.
He was on the inside of Hut Strickland there, I believe, and they got together coming off the corner. Earnhardt gets by, and in fact, everybody else does as well.
Only 2 cars involved in that crash. You're right, Spencer just came off. Look as they go by.
From Rick Mass on board camera.
This is already happening up there, so he just tries to find him a good spot to go through, and does.
That's not the first time that we have seen a replay of an accident from Rick Mass on board camera, but he has been close to a lot of them this afternoon. Well, once again, 7th caution period of the day is out at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Darlington with 242 laps completed. Moments ago, this is what we saw beyond turn number 3. Whoa, some wicked lightning.
As all the cars, if those guys had seen that, they probably would not have made their pit stop. But meanwhile, we're about ready to go back to green. Kenny Wallace, the Square D car, on the tail end of the lead lap, and guess who's leading the race, folks?
The points leader, Bobby Labonte.
Boy, has his crew performed today or what?
Yep.
Well, John Kernan has already reported several times that he picked up 3 or 4 positions every time they made a pit stop. He came in running 5th, came out running 1st.
Let's give a call to the front tire changer, Jeff Chandler, rear tire changer, Barry Cook, tire carriers, Todd Meredith, and Scott Hewitt, Jason Lee on the jack, Peter Gillen in the gas can. You guys have been awesome.
Well, the weekend got off to a bad start for Labonte. This is what happened in Friday practice. The car up against the wall in turn number 3, heavy damage to the right side, and Bobby Labonte had to go to a backup car to qualify. Fortunately, he was able to climb out of the car okay, but the same cannot be said for the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. So it's a backup car. He had to take a provisional to get into the race. Started in 37th position, but he finds himself now in the lead. Trying to turn around some rather dismal performance here at Darlington. He has finished 13th or worse in 4 of the last 5 races here.
Now, that car in front of him is Kenny Wallace. Remember, he made a green flag pit stop. He's on the lead lap, the tail end of the lead lap. He can stay up there in front of Bobby Labonte. That is legal to do that. Of course, Tony Stewart is a lap down also, so he's in front of the leader as well. So they both hope they can jump out in front, stay in front of Bobby Labonte here, and maybe get a quick caution, and they'll be back in business again.
Kenny Wallace is in 20th position, and once again, we hear from our observers that there is rain very close to the racetrack, but here we go again. Now, Stewart is very likely to get his lap back, and look at Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton takes the lead.
Boy, he sees an opportunity there and pounced on it.
Oh, Jeff Ford trying to get by Sterling Marlin's car back there.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. running up there in 3rd position, and Jeff Gordon is in 4th. The 22 of Ward Burton in 5th.
Well, they know this could possibly be a short run here in case it does rain, but also it's getting pretty dark here.
Yes, it is.
Now we see Ward Burton has gotten by the Sterling Marlin's car, and Jeff Ford is trying his best. He finally clears Sterling Marlin's car. Here comes Earnhardt.
And Kevin LePage, let's give him a call. He's running 6th in the 16 car. That also is a backup car. He crashed on Saturday. 21 of Elliott Sadler is 8th.
Well, I see that light again over there as I look out over turns 3 and 4.
Well, how about Jeff Burton? He completed the clean sweep last year. His brother won here in the spring, and Jeff Burton finds himself leading late in this race, or at least late in the day.
And the 55 car, some heavy sparks are coming from that Square D car. I don't know exactly what it is, but and now Ward Burton trying to get on the inside of Dale Jr. in the 8 car. Looks like he's going to do it.
That would be for 3rd. And Ward takes over 3rd. And let's go down and talk to Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy, you were storming through the field. Then what happened?
Brett Bodine, you know, just stupid on his part, you know, just a stupid-ass move, you know, and he was a lap car, and, I mean, I had cleared him, and he got to run up off that corner, and then he gave me no room and caught me in the right rear quarter pound, turned me in the wall. Stupid move on his part. Really affected us, you know, because we had a car capable of winning this race. We ran in the top 5, top 10 all day long, but that's why he's looking for a sponsor, and we're not.
Well, I have to apologize to Hut Strickland. I said it was Hut Strickland. The car's painted similar. Brett's car is a little bit more red than the 90 car, so it was Brett Bodine, not Hut Strickland that is painted red.
Now Ward Burton is trying to get that Caterpillar car up there and trying to chase down his younger brother, Jeff Burton, who's leading this race.
We've got to get by Bobby Labonte first. Oh, trouble here on the front straight.
Mike Bliss is involved. Rusty Wallace comes down and bangs the inside wall. Matt Kenseth drives away from the crash. And once again, we have our 8th caution of the afternoon. Here comes Jeff Burton down to complete and take the yellow flag. And both Kenny Wallace and Tony Stewart get their laps back.
They do. So this is the break they were looking for. Not the break Rusty Wallace was looking for, though.
After winning 2 NASCAR Winston Cup races in a row, he came here to Darlington, and the lady in black has reached out and slapped him in the face.
Matt Kenseth, Walt Ford, heavily damaged too. Rusty Wallace picked up his trophy for 3rd quarter driver of the year honors last year here at Darlington. Let's take a look at what happened right here on the front straightaway.
There's Kenseth on the bottom of the racetrack. Comes off the corner. And Dave Marcus just gets in the right rear quarter and turns him in the wall, and he hits the 27 car.
See, does Mark get through there? Yeah, he does. Just squeeze through there.
And so does Jarrett.
Really, Mark gets it. Let's watch and listen from our speed shot as these guys come by. Didn't take them long to go by, did it, Bob?
Well, if you weren't watching, you'd miss him.
See, Dave Marcus, what happened, when he came off the corner, he almost brushed the wall, and the car got loose, and it went down the hill in the side.
From Rusty Wallace's onboard camera.
There's someone running in the back of him.
And we got some cars making pit stops here. Jerry Punch.
88-3 pitting nose to tail. Both those have pitted before. A little bit tight again for Earnhardt. A little bit loose for Jarrett. He needs about 20 laps for that car to come in. Earnhardt down and away. Jarrett getting left side tires. Still up on the jack for Dale Jarrett. Now it's off. They clean the windshield and he's away.
Here comes Mark Martin in the heavily damaged car of Matt Kenseth going back on the racetrack. Tony Stewart coming back with 4 fresh tires on the lead lap.
As is Kenny Wallace. Both of those guys got their laps back, and so they make pit stops, get 4 fresh tires, and we'll see if they can move up through the field. Here's the 88 car of Jarrett as he drives through this mess.
He hits on the inside of Scott Pruitt. Then he just hopes and prays and drives right through there.
Prayers for answer there.
Yeah. And I'm sure part of the reasoning for he and Mark Martin, at least, to make pit stops, as you watch it again here.
This is Rick Mass.
Rick motions behind him. Slow down back there. Gets him another gear and takes off. But watch it again here. Mark's car comes off of the high side and right down into the right rear quarter panel of Matt Kenseth. And we noticed that Earnhardt, of course, he was in front of this wreck, but Jarrett and Mark Martin and several others made pit stops. They had run through there, so, you know, you never know when you might pick up something. But also, they were back near the back of the pack and didn't have a whole lot to lose, so why not come in and put on 4 new tires?
Rusty's Miller Lite Ford remains on pit road as they try to get some of the sheet metal pulled away and make some repairs so that he can get back in competition. But an accident involving Marcus, Bliss, Kenseth, Strickland, and Wallace has brought out our 8th caution of the afternoon. Dives for pit road, leaving the field. In charge of Jeff Burton, and he comes down to retake the green flag to begin the racing once again. It's Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jeff Gordon, the top 5. Here we go again.
They clear that left car very quickly, and boy, that's something they like to do and want to do when you get in that first corner. And Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte was able to do it, and Ward Burton cleared them as well.
That's the 44 car of Steve Grissom slow. And here goes Earnhardt with those 4 fresh tires.
And Dale Jarrett is right behind him on the high side of the racetrack. He's got Steve Park ahead of him. Earnhardt is up to 11th. Jarrett is running 12th.
And Mark Martin also has 4 new tires. He's right behind Jarrett as Earnhardt passes his own car, driven by Steve Park, takes the position away, puts him in 10th.
They go around Johnny Benson, who started from the outside of the front row but had problems early, is 124 laps behind in 39 spots.
Car of Wally Darling back. 1 lap down. Back to 21st position. There he is as he follows Earnhardt down in turn 3.
Battle for second position as Ward Burton closes in on Bobby Labonte.
Well, those Burke brothers want to monopolize Darlington, don't they? Can't win.
The last 3 races here. Will take second. Now he sets his sights on his brother.
Yeah, he remembers last year. If that race was going on, I would have got him. Well, we'll see if we can get him this time.
And Dale Earnhardt is in 10th. Jarrett right behind him at 11th.
I'll tell you what, Dale Jarrett in his Ford Quality Care, he's been complaining about his car being a little bit loose. You would think as overcast as it is, as cool as it is right now, that I'll be really helping his race car.
Ward Burton closes in on his brother Jeff. That lap, Ward ran almost a full mile an hour faster than Jeff. 157.9 for Jeff and 158.7 for Ward. Like he had a good run there in the second corner, but couldn't do it. Jerry has more.
1 year ago in the Southern 500, it was Jeff Burton leading. Ward Burton in second spot. I got to lap 260. Ward said, I'm going to be very patient, passing my brother. 5 laps later, the rains came, and on lap 270 was red flag with Jeff Burton the winner. And Ward said he waited too long. He's not going to wait too long today. He said, I learned a year ago, patience isn't a virtue when the weather's moving in.
Oh, he's got a run. He has a run off 2. Here comes Ward Burton on the inside. There's nothing his brother can do. Is there?
Well, unless he slides up and drives back under him. Let's see if he pulls that Dale Earnhardt type of move. He's going to try it, but I don't think it's going to work.
Ward Burton takes the lead on lap 261.
Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett continue to pass cars. They've moved up to the 8th and 9th position, passing Terry Labonte and Ricky Rudd along the way.
Elliott Sadler will be their next victim. He's running 7th.
They're right on his back bumper. Here's where Earnhardt's been making his move. Down there inside.
Make it this time.
Yep. DJ's been following him right through every time.
Jarrett Sadler. Oh, so close to that wall coming off the corner, but both Earnhardt and Jarrett get around Sadler.
So they move up to 8th. Let's see, where is it? 7th and 8th.
And Ward Burton begins to pull away from his brother and the rest of the field. It was 0.6 of a second last time around. Let's see what it is this time as Ward completes lap 263. It's 0.8 of a second now.
He gained almost a third of a second that time. Look how high he is down in 1 and 2. Talk about driving with all your heart. That's what Ward Burton's doing right now. He's following this line around the racetrack, right on the edge of disaster every time. Reminds me of Jeff Gordon when he's trying to win that Winston Newton year a few years ago. That's what Ward Burton's doing now.
Let's watch as Ward came off the corner last time. Yes, he did.
That's what I'm talking about. He's going, doing everything he possibly can to keep that Caterpillar car in front.
Now that he has the lead that he has, he needs to cool it and not take any chances. He's got to run hard, but not on the limit, not on the edge every lap.
This is the car that Ward won with earlier this year here. He also drove this chassis at Indianapolis and finished in 28th position. 264 laps completed. Ward Burton leads his brother Jeff. Ward Burton took the victory. Tabitha, his wife, was ecstatic. Ward came home with his second career win and now threatens to make it his third career win and a sweep of Darlington in 2000. He currently leads his brother Jeff by a little over 2 seconds.
But that was the spring race at Darlington. This is the Southern 500. His brother, he explained to us at NASCAR today, or sometime today, it's been such a long day, just how much the Southern 500 meant to him.
Now, while we were in break, Jeff Gordon passed Dale Earnhardt Jr., so Jeff Gordon now is in 4th and Jr. is in 5th.
Dale Earnhardt passed Kevin LePage and moved up to 6th.
So Dale Jarrett is 7th.
Pretty good piece up for the next car, which would be Dale Earnhardt Jr., that they would just catch. Earnhardt Jr. running in 5th position.
Right now, Earnhardt is a little over 9 seconds behind Ward Burton. That's the 40 car, Sterling Marlin. That is not position.
Sterling is 18th, a lap down. Here is Ward. Coming down and passing Brett Bodine, who is in 25th position, now 3 laps down.
Two and 3/4 seconds back to Jeff Burton. The Exide Ford right now losing the battle to his older brother.
Here's Bobby Labonte, but it looks like he's losing ground to Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon is definitely moving up on him. Labonte is in 3rd. Gordon 4th. Here's past first position, Bob.
That's Tony Stewart, who was a lap down, is now back on the lead lap and is up in the top 10.
Dale Jarrett tried to get under the 3 car and got the thing a little bit loose down in 1 and 2.
Earnhardt has not been able to pass Sterling Marlin here these last 2 or 3 laps. And DJ managed to pull up on him.
Boy, they come off that corner so close. And we see Jeff Gordon has gone by the 18 car, Bobby Labonte. Takes over the 3rd spot. Labonte now back to 4th. Our Circuit City onboard cameras, Bobby Labonte follows Jeff Gordon down the front stretch, completing yet another lap. Last time by, Jeff Gordon was the fastest car on the racetrack.
John Kernan has more on Labonte.
Bobby Labonte just radioed in and told the crew, said so much for the cooler track temperatures tightening up the racetrack. He said, right now, my car is extremely loose. During that last pit stop, or last caution, they were talking about the temperature and how it was cooler, as cool as the coolest it had been all day, and that should tighten up the car. But it did not. The car is loose, and Bobby's got a handful right now.
Jeff Gordon is beginning to catch Jeff Burton, who's in 2nd.
He's being pointed out. He's fastest car on the racetrack right now. Ran just a shade faster than Ward and 2 miles an hour faster than Jeff.
And he's reduced the interval BP by a half second.
Took him 5 laps to do it, though. And he's too far behind Ward Burton right now. He needs to start gaining in a half second per lap. That's all awfully hard to do when these cars are so doggone close. NASCAR, the rules, trying to keep these cars as equal as they possibly can.
Only 89 more laps to go in this one.
But everybody left it, if they're able to go the distance. It's still getting pretty dark. They still would have to make another pit stop.
These cameras can open up their lenses and make it look a lot lighter than it really is.
Yeah, we saw that a few weeks ago when Tiger and them were playing golf out there, and it was, you know, it looked okay on television, but boy, it was dark.
I also remember that we saw that at Talladega earlier this year when they qualified literally in the dark.
Yes, they did.
Now Earnhardt about to catch his son for the 5th position. There he is. Moved right up on him. He's mowed down about, Junior was about 3 seconds out in front of Dale Sr. But he's mowed that down to practically nothing here. You see Earnhardt Jr.'s car a little loose there.
Oh, look how he just closes up right on the back bumper.
Said, I get him loose. There we go. And he did. He got him loose. And it might cost him 2 positions.
Yep. Jarrett's going to come along also. Dale Jr. back to 7th. Put Dale in 5th. Earnhardt in 5th. And Jarrett in 6th.
But they're over 11 seconds behind the leader. They're running some good lap times, but they're so far behind. They're having to have a lot of racing. Now, these 2 cars that we're watching here, of course, they made pit stops since those that are up in front of them have made pit stops. So if they have to make green flag pit stops, they'll be able to stay out there a little longer. They don't know if they want to stay a whole lot longer than the others, because new tires let you run so much faster.
281 of 367 laps completed. Ward and Jeff are up front with Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Dale Earnhardt in the top 5. Pepsi Southern 500 presented by Kmart with 286 laps completed. His advantage over his brother is 3.9 seconds. Last year, Jeff Burton finished ahead of Ward, 1st and 2nd, 3 times in Las Vegas, Darlington, and Rockingham, and Ward is trying to turn the tables here this afternoon. Here's Mark Martin going to the inside of Elliott Sadler and taking over the 14th position.
Mark's car with that brush, he was almost involved in that wreck. In fact, he was involved. You see the damage on the right side of his car. He got through it, but he still brushed the car through there. I think it was the 90 car when he went through there. And it just hasn't been as fast since then. But he dropped back, now being able to pick up a few more positions.
The Mark had fallen back to about 16th, 17th position, but now he's worked his way back up to at least 14th as this battle between Earnhardt and Jarrett still goes on. It's a battle for the 5th position.
And Mark Martin gets another spot, this time from Steve Parks. So Mark is in 13th now. We have had 13 leaders and 17 lead changes. So far, even though he has been out of the race for a long time, Jeremy Mayfield has still led the most laps, in fact, by a bunch. He led 104 laps early. Second on the most laps led list is Dale Earnhardt, 47. Mark Martin has led 29. Ward Burton has been out front for 28.
Here's Ted Musgrave having a good run today, and the car 01 coming up on Elliott Sadler. They're running 15th and 16th.
The 5 car of Terry Labonte is the last car on the lead lap. That's right behind Musgrave in the 01.
Jerry Nadu just went down the front stretch in the Michael Holligan car, and you can tell the way it's running. I think that its engine's about to go south on us.
Well, let's not forget some of the accomplishments in that 01 car, which used to be numbered differently in the hands of Kenny Irwin, who was the pole winner for this race a year ago. Jerry, what is the strategy now as we near the 300 lap mark?
Well, guys, Ward Burton pitted on lap 239. They can run about 70 to 71 laps comfortably, so they're looking at their final pit stop, if we stay green, to be around lap 310. And remember, Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Jarrett both pitted on 239, but came back in on lap 250 for that next caution flag. So both the 88 and the 3 could go at least 320 and maybe even close to 330 based on fuel mileage. But they are getting ready right now to bring the 8 car in, Dale Earnhardt Jr., in the next few laps. He's radioed about a vibration in the right front tire.
Well, he has fallen down to 11th position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has.
Jeff Gordon, the 24 car DuPont Chevrolet, was gaining on the 99 car of Jeff Burton, but it has stopped gaining that much. As a matter of fact, that time Jeff Burton was actually faster than Jeff Gordon. There's about 2 seconds between the two cars, the 24 and the 99.
Up there in the upper left of your screen is the points right now. Jarrett 101 behind. Here is, as predicted, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road. Down to Jerry Punch.
Earnhardt Jr. said he's been having a serious chatter, as he calls it, a chattering of the right front tire. Now they are within their fuel window. They've been losing position, so why not go ahead and pit, knowing everyone else also has to pit. They're losing time on the racetrack, so they're going to come down for 4 tires. I don't think they're going to make a chassis adjustment. They haven't said anything on the radio. They want to get that set of tires off Earnhardt Jr.'s car. Right side tires going on. Final pit stop. And we're about 74 laps away from the checkered flag. Left side going on. Left front, left rear. Minor air pressure, I'm being told. No other adjustment. Earnhardt Jr. is away.
Rick Mast and Kevin LePage, a couple of guys we don't get an opportunity to talk about very much, but they are both having great races here this afternoon. We're on board with Rick Mast, who is currently in 8th position. Tried, or at least had a notion to challenge LePage for the 7th spot, but not right now.
He's still working on it. Thought he had a run coming off of the corner there, but couldn't quite make it. So we'll look at him again here going into turn 3.
Again, Rick's best finish this season has been an 8 at Pocono, and he's trying to move up in a position to better that.
Had trouble getting traction coming off of the corner there, and it just wouldn't get the traction he needed. Right behind him is Jimmy Spencer, who finally got his car worked on, and he's back out there.
22 laps down, the 28 car of Ricky Rudd comes onto pit road. He was 13th. 45 miles an hour. Observing the speed limit as he comes down to his pit box.
Elliott Sadler is leaving the pits in the Sitco number 21. Ricky Rudd stops. Jack goes under the car.
Impossible to make a green flag pit stop here at Darlington and not lose a lap.
Temperature dropping, wind is picking up, rain, we understand, may be moving this way again. We'll wait and see. Oh, look at Ward Burton now.
Oh, did they remember early in the race? The 10 car.
Trying to get you too fast. Be careful.
The 10 car and Ward Burton made contact. The 10 car crashed.
Letting Johnny go by.
Yep, smart move, Ward.
Well, again, we are nearing a time when some decisions are going to have to be made. If, as we are told, the rain is within about 5 miles of here, will Ward Burton kind of stay out there as long as he can, or will he pit on a regular basis and see what happens? Well, stay with us and we'll see what happens. Southern 500, Ward Burton is the leader, but we understand that he is headed for pit road. Indeed, he lifts from the accelerator. Here he comes down off the banking of turn number 4.
All right, buddy, to the line. 4,100 at the line.
That's the RPM that he needs to get down below the speed
Keep
limit.
the speed up, 4,100. Everyone's coming behind us.
Dale Earnhardt also on pit road, as is Bobby Labonte, the 88 car.
Both Earnhardt had caught the 18 car about to pass him, so I guess they decided they didn't want to let other cars out there on new tires be out there and them still on the track. Bill?
Remember earlier in the race, Jeff Gordon pitted a couple of laps before everybody else and came out as the leader. He's getting 4 tires of fuel. He's loose off to Jerry.
4 tires for Ward Burton, 64 laps in the checkered flag. No air pressure, no wedge, no track bar, just 4 tires. That'll hustle. He's down and away. Meanwhile, up pit road, Dale Earnhardt gets his tires in the 24 car. Jeff Gordon goes by. Here's Earnhardt going out. John Turner.
Jeff Burton is in for a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment on the right front, a half around the wedge out in the left rear. He is down and away.
Rick Mast is going to lead a lap here. He hasn't stopped yet. There he is.
Six car, make Mark Marsden the pits. Bill Weber.
This should be Mark's last stop if we stay green. Tony Stewart has gotten out of his pit. He comes down pit road. It's 4 tires. Air pressure adjustment for Mark Martin. His car has not been the same the last third of this race. Great early, but not late. Trying to make it up here. Mark's on his way out. To John Turner.
And the leader, Rick Mast, is in. They'll make a track bar adjustment, change 4 tires, no other adjustments, a half around up on the track bar. Pull off the cover on the windshield. Now the left side's going on. Mast is down and away. A good pit stop.
And that lap that Rick Mast led was the first lap that he has led this year. And Ken Schrader also gets credit for leading a lap, but now he comes in for his scheduled stop. And that's going to put Ward Burton back in the lead. Kenny Schrader comes down, hits the marks, and the crew goes to work.
Uh-oh, jack it up, jack it up. It's not quite high enough. Now finally get it up, but just that little bit of a delay is going to cost them 2 or 3 seconds.
Caution is out here at Darlington once again. Jerry Nadeau. We have had a major power outage here in the booth. Boy, when I write my memoirs, this race is going to be right at the top of the list. I'm telling you, we have had all kinds of problems here today, technically. But hopefully, and with the weather also, we've had lightning, we have had a variety of things, but now we're on a backup system, and hopefully we'll be able to guide you through the rest of this race. It isn't going to be easy because we don't have any monitors up here in the booth. We are going to call this race by simply looking at the racetrack. Well, we are under caution because Jerry Nadeau let out a big puff of smoke just as he crossed the finish line, and that brought out another caution here. We're on the 321st lap of the race. Ward Burton continues to lead. However, Jeff Burton was very definitely closing in just before we went to the caution.
Next question. How many of these cars will pit? I think about all of them on the lead lap will have to come down and get 4 fresh tires, because it looks like that NASCAR is trying to take this thing to lap 367. I thought it would be too dark at 7:30, but there's still good daylight out there.
And here come the leaders.
We don't have any reports from our pit guys because the power is out on the roof, but here in the booth, we'll try to guide you through these pit stops. Ward, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon come down, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett. Jeff Burton is the first to hit his pit box, and the crew goes to work on the right side of the car. Further down, Jeff Gordon, he gets his car to a stop now.
Jeff Burton, left side is, and Bobby Labonte beats Jeff Burton off pit road. They come down pit road. Right now, those will be the first and second place car. Who else on pit road can beat them? Jeff Gordon is moving, but he comes out third spot.
Not quite enough. He's going to have to fall in behind Jarrett.
Oh, and almost some contact between Earnhardt and Gordon, and Ward Burton comes out in about 6th place.
Wow. Ward Burton falls from the lead back to 6th position on that series of pit stops.
Well, it was a bad break for him. He had a bad pit stop one time earlier in the race and lost a lot of positions, and this came at the most inopportune time that he possibly could have.
And right now, Earnhardt is up in the 3rd position. We'll have to wait and see. I can't see from our angle who did win the race off pit road, what position, how they'll line up, but NASCAR will do that, and we'll let you know.
What a day. What a day at Darlington. The Southern 500 is still going on. And here is the race off pit road. Earnhardt pulls out, creating a jam there.
And it looks like he might have come out in 3rd place.
Yep, lucky not to have damaged his car or someone else's, but that's how they came off pit road, and that's the way they are at the moment. We'll take a break and be back with more in a moment from the Pepsi Southern 500. South Carolina, we should be going green very shortly here. Bobby Labonte is going to be the leader of the race. Jeff Burton running second, then Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Ward Burton, Kevin LePage, Ricky Rudd, Tony Stewart, and in 10th position is Steve Park. In my 22 years of broadcasting for ESPN, I've never been in this situation. The entire tower from which we are broadcasting has no power. We are on a backup system up here. We have no monitors. We're going to have to call this race by simply looking at the racetrack.
That's hard to see because it's getting very dark here.
And NASCAR has waved off the restart for whatever reason.
As we told you earlier, we had a major power outage just before we got on the air, but we corrected it and have been okay up until a few minutes ago when the entire tower went out, including race control and everything that is controlled from the top of the roof in our broadcast, including the pit reporters. So bear with us here. We're going to do as well as we can in the remaining laps of this race. You're right, they are not going to go back to green either this time or next time around. Now we'll see if we can bring in Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, guys, we are back now with the power back, at least momentarily, here in the pits. Update quickly, the 22 pit stop of Ward Burton, over 17 seconds, 4 tires. They changed air pressure to put the car back the way it was. It was loose on his previous run. Hopefully it'll be better. He's got to come from 6th spot. The 88 car, half a pound air pressure to the right front, half a pound to bite. The car very, very loose. The 3 car, 4 tires, no changes. Bill Weber?
Thank you, Jerry. Jeff Gordon's car has been loose, so they made air pressure adjustments to try and adjust for that. The big news here is they timed their pit stop at 13.93 seconds, an outstanding stop.
Up here.
But because of the way cars are timed on pit road, these guys are at a disadvantage. Gordon got pinched by Earnhardt and lost a spot to John Kernan.
Bobby Labonte's crew did a 4-tire change, no adjustments, no fuel, and they did it in 14.2 seconds. Jeff Burton also on pit road for 4 tires, a slight air pressure adjustment, and a slight chassis adjustment.
And guess what? We just heard the spotter say, big drop on the roof. So that means, once again, rain,
and
trouble.
Fans are beginning to scramble. We can see them scrambling around down there. You know, we talk about races being won and lost in the pits. We'll never see a more classic example if that's the case right here. Bobby Labonte's crew has performed all day long, got him several positions every time he's come in the pit, could even get him a win in the Southern 500.
Now it's beginning to rain quite hard.
Wow. Cars are still lined up for a restart, but they're not going to restart with it raining. That's for doggone sure.
No, and I think it's too dark to race anyway, Benny. It is very dark out there.
It is raining big drops. It isn't raining particularly heavy, but what is falling is in big drops. And if the racetrack should get to the point where it is wet, then there's no way they're going to be able to get this race restarted.
Well, that's how dark it really is, Bob, from the helicopter.
Yeah, from the helicopter, you can see just how dark it is here at Darlington. Pennzoil Copter Cam has been up there all afternoon long.
Hey, we got our monitor back here in the booth.
Back. How about that?
And you can see those raindrops on the lens.
Tell you what, that's some pretty good rain on the lens of that camera.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I believe this one's about history.
Well, this has been an unusual one. There's no question about that. We have seen absolutely everything this afternoon in the Pepsi Southern 500. We'll be right back. Getting on rain now in Darlington. The checkered flag, we think, is going to be coming out here in just a moment. You can see how hard it begins to rain at Darlington at about 7:20 Eastern time. Pace car brings down as Bobby Labonte is the first car behind the pace car. And indeed, the checkered flag is going to wave. And Bobby Labonte, who started 37th, wins for the first time at Darlington in his 16th race here. It's the 3rd win for him in 2000. He also won at Rockingham and Indianapolis.
Boy, he'll hug those pit crews when he gets in, because they're the ones that won him the race. There's Jimmy Maycar, the crew chief on there, naturally very happy.
Strategy is as important as having a fast race car sometimes.
And great pit stops. I'm telling you, on the racetrack today, it looked like passing was so doggone difficult. Getting out in front was so important to see these guys say a prayer and give their thanks and for the victory.
Bobby Labonte becomes the 38th driver to win here at this storied racetrack. John?
And I'm with his crew chief, Jimmy Maycar. Big hugs all around. Well, they say races are won and lost in the pits. You won one in the pits.
It's true. These guys, I can't say enough about them. You know, they pulled it out when it got in the clutch, and you know, that's true. We won the race to pits. We didn't have the best car today, and you know, we had a good top 5 car, but that was it. And you know, Bobby drove his heart out. We worked on the car hard all day long. Start where we did and come back to where we got to, and the guys pull off in the pits. You know, we've lost a lot of races this way, seen a lot of people win them. We haven't done it, so it's one the good Lord gave us. That's all there is to it.
All right, well, it's raining cats and dogs down here, so Jimmy, head to victory lane. Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said congratulations. Oh. Head to victory lane. I can't see. My eyes are full of water. I like this water.
Here are the results. Jeff Burton finishes in 2nd spot. Dale Earnhardt comes home 3rd. Gordon 4th. Dale Jarrett winds up 5th. Ward Burton 6th. Then a great run for Kevin LePage. Tony Stewart comes back to finish in the 9th position. Steve Park finishes 10th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with an 11th place finish. What a day at Darlington. One I'll never forget.
Unbelievable. Rusty Wallace will finish back in 30th spot, 20 laps down, so no three-peat for Rusty.
As we watch the last page here, most of those cars out of the race for one reason or another. Many of them crashes and some of them with engine problems.
There you can see the final chapter, heavy rain falling over Darlington Raceway. Well, the Pepsi Southern 500 presented by Kmart being brought to you by Bobby Labonte when he crashed on Friday and had to go to a backup car has resulted in a victory. In a very wet victory lane, or at least it is outside. Here's Jerry.
A big hug to Tyler, Madison, and Donna. His wife and daughter come in. Bobby, incredible effort from 37th to 1st, your very first Southern 500 victory.
Well, all I can say is the pit crew, obviously you saw that won it. Coming from Friday, about knocking my head off over there in turn 3 to win this race, and not having the fastest race car, and having a pit crew that was awesome all day. We got in off pit road great, and just thank the Lord for a great day. We're definitely blessed by this weekend, by all the circumstances that we had, and we didn't have the fastest race car. We didn't have a very good race car yesterday, so we fixed it last night and got a little bit better. The 3 and the 88 were the same, and this Interstate Batteries Pontiac was awesome. Just can't say enough for Jimmy and all the guys. They never gave up, and that's what it's all about. So it's pretty cool, I'll have to say. I don't think I won it. I think the pit crew won it, but we all won it together. I do know that.
Give this guy a big hug. Jimmy Maycar comes in. There are 10 events remaining, and the lead is now 111 points. This guy looking for his first Winston Cup championship. Bob?
Came from 37th position to win here today. Jarrett now 111 points behind Bobby as we continue to track the championship battle. Ward Burton moved up a position. Mark Martin fell a spot. We'll see you.